Hey everyone, welcome back to the Michael Jordan episode of Cool Water Show number 23. Over here on Silent Podcast, where anything but silent, where we will be recapping anything and everything from the Real Housewives Universe from this week. So my name is Kari. I'm joined by my co-host Katie. Katie, how are you on this Monday?
I'm good. So I was off from work today, but I've had a crazy weekend. We went out. So I'm in New York for everybody, if this is your first time, in Queens, but I went out east, all the way out east to like the end of Long Island for a wedding this weekend. So I feel like I'm still in recovery mode because I'm
Mm.
old as fuck. So I'm good. I'm just tired. I know you mentioned before we started recording that you napped today. So did I. It was glorious. So yeah, that's kind of like my mindset. I'm very chill hangout day today.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram story. It looked very pretty.
Yeah, it was actually a really beautiful place. And you could tell that I got a little drunk because then I started posting pictures of like you and McGregor and the Real Housewives like mid wedding because I was
I
just
was
browsing and I was like, let me share all of these pictures on my story mid wedding. So that's how you could tell I was like probably like peak, like how many glasses of wine in? I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the Ramona Singer repost. I was like, okay.
Didn't even remember it was from Ramona. So there you go. I just knew I posted a picture of the first cast of the Real Housewives of New York. Not even my favorite cast ever. So I don't know why I did that, but it struck me in the moment. So I posted it.
Listen, you were having a good night.
I
Everybody
was.
everybody has those times, you know? Um, well, I'm glad that you had a good weekend or at least
Yeah.
fun at a wedding.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to enjoy a wedding because I'm a jackass. And so at least from like my perspective of your Instagram story, it did seem like you were having a good time.
Yeah, we definitely had a good time. It was the first wedding that we've been to since COVID. It was my partner Matt's one of his best friends. So it was like I had really no like obligation. So I was just there to
Hmm.
hang. So it was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Nice.
How are
Yeah, it was
you?
I'm good. I'm gonna share what I share. I'm not gonna full on share, but I shared this with Katie earlier before we started recording. We're starting a little late because basically like my neighbor from when I was a kid, she's like probably like 8 to 10 years older than me. I was telling Katie, like, you know, when people are older than you than you're when you're
Hmm.
younger, they seem like super old. Like I I remember her graduating high school. I just can't remember what year she graduated high school. So like she can't be more than 10 years older than me. And
Yeah.
she uh is like batshit fucking crazy on Facebook. So like the TLDR is she has 3 kids, got divorced from first husband, um, then like is with this other guy who has at least 3 kids. They had a kid together, but now there's like drama, and I think they're breaking up. At least Facebook would make
Oh,
it seem like they are painfully breaking up based
seems
off of
that
these
way.
posts. I showed Katie some posts, and it's just
Wild.
fucking wild. Like this is the shit that you see like screenshots of and you think they're made up. But like Katie saw, I even like said my password out loud to Katie. Well, half of it. Like as I was typing it in, like she knows I'm not just pulling shit from the
Uh-huh.
internet. This is
Hmm.
straight from someone that's I follow my Facebook. And um I don't know how bad of a person it makes me that like I legit check in every 2 to 3 days to like see if there's any new shit that I've missed.
It almost feels like you have
And
to check in more often because it looked like she was deleting stuff.
yeah, there's stuff. So I like definitely screen recorded 6 minutes of me scrolling through her Facebook earlier today and showed it to some people.
I love it.
But
Well, there is a
there's definitely
subreddit
things.
called Insane People Facebook. So they might appreciate seeing some of it. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Um, apologies in advance. One of those days here. I don't know if you were able to hear what I just said.
Apologies in advance. And then just one of those days here.
Yeah, the irony in what you missed is when I said for when my Wi-Fi cuts out because we're
Yeah.
just having one of those days here. Don't know what's going on. I
Yeah.
speed tested. I left and came back. It's not me. It's StreamYard. Like my internet is fine. Um, what is my dog doing? Oh, he's got a stick. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of like riding this like internet crazy high right now.
Yeah.
That's what it comes
Listen,
down
it's
to.
the best thing to do on a Monday off is just browse internet craziness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice cathartic way to spend your day off of work.
So thank you, crazy former neighbor,
Yeah.
for indulging me in your life.
Yes.
Because I
And
had
thank you,
unfollowed
Kari,
her.
for sharing it with me.
Yeah, no problem. You didn't even get to see all of it. Like, if you want the whole 6-minute video, I'll fucking send it. It's fine.
I mean, if you're so inclined, I
If
will look
have
at it.
Yeah, it is like Housewives level drama, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
you can describe it better than that.
But like
And
Housewives
what
of
fans
OC level, you know, like kind of the trashy version of Housewives? Or like Dallas,
yes.
maybe?
I'm
You
trying
know,
to
not like the
see.
A-list
Oh, I
Housewives, the
haven't
trashy.
seen Dallas yet.
Meh,
Yeah.
meh.
Uh, um, I am going to try something here, Katie. So
Okay.
I am going to try leaving and coming back again to see if
Okay.
it works better. Oh no, my thing is let's wait to see one more time. Maybe I'll like calm
Yeah.
myself down.
So far, you're
Actually, I'm
good
gonna
right
try
now.
one other thing. Okay, because this is annoying me. The Wi-Fi should work. I'm gonna plug my Ethernet in because it's never worked for us, but then I did it with Gia and Josh and it worked. So
Okay.
anyway, any listeners, you're just listening to me troubleshoot my life right
We're
now.
doing it live,
Sorry.
baby. We're doing it
Yeah.
live.
All right. We're plugged in. I'm probably gonna cut out it as it like establishes that connection, and then we'll get into Beverly Hills and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Our last week of, well, I mean, technically there's 3 on, but we aren't covering Dubai. But then
Right.
our next week we get into our Hugged, which is called like the Ex-Wives Club. I just
Yes,
saw
it's
that.
called Ex-Wives Club. There's 3 episodes that come out on Thursday, which is exactly what happened with the first season of um Girls Trip, Ultimate Girls Trip, Rehugged. Um, but I think we covered them separately. Like I think we broke them up because
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember why we did that, but we did that. But I think this time we're gonna just do maybe a special dedicated episode, which will be really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I tried watching Dubai, so I'll keep everybody updated on my Dubai journey. Turned it on, got bored within the first 5 minutes, and then just shut it off and have not even thought about going back to it. So enjoyed the second episode. I just like I'm not, it's not grabbing my attention. So I think I'm out on it. Unless I like hear things on the internet where it's like people are like, oh my God, Dubai's the best. Then I think maybe I'll try it out again, but I'm not feeling it.
So oh my God, Dubai's so good. I saw another tweet that was like, this seems really forced. They don't seem like friends. And
Yeah.
then one other one that I don't know what it said. It's like it's not getting a lot of like publicity within my little social media circle. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Mixed bag.
I only watched the first episode. Oh, I remember. Someone was like, it's episode 3, and what's her face from England is already
Yeah,
like
Carolyn
skipping out on
Stanbury.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I was like
people,
looking forward to her because I remember liking her on Ladies of London whenever I would like pop in, but she's not grabbing it for me. And then she also married this really young guy, and there are tweets of him saying racial slurs on the internet in 2016, which is really gross and terrible. So you know what? They can go. The Dubai, I'm not into it. Chanel Ayan though is an icon. It's just I just the rest not feeling him.
and there's your Dubai update for the week.
Yeah,
For the while.
yeah,
Not even the week, the while.
yeah, yeah.
Let's jump into Beverly Hills, where we continue to beat the dead horse that is Crystal. So
Yeah.
we would get some resolution this week. I think we've kind of got some resolution a little bit. I don't know. Would you say we end up with resolution here?
I don't know if we got resolution or not. This episode was really weird for me. Not for me, just like in general, it felt weird. Like I'm tired of this. I just can't. The thing with Beverly Hills that kills me is that like every season, everyone's like, this is going to be the best season. You're not even going to be able to predict what's going to happen. And then it's the same storyline for like 7 episodes in a row and nothing gets resolved and it's just very boring. So that's where I feel like I'm at. I don't care about this story anymore. I didn't really care about it to begin with. And I definitely don't care about it anymore. It's kind of like almost like an everyone sucks here situation.
Mhm.
So I'm ready to just move on from it and move on to something else.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we start this episode with like everyone checking in with their glam teams and then Crystal doing her own makeup, which is
Yeah,
probably like the highlight for Crystal in this episode. I think
I
that
think so. Yeah,
is
probably.
probably her best showing. After that, it just is not great for really anyone involved. But we get to breakfast, and Crystal and Sutton were there first. I thought it would seem like more weird between the two of them,
Yeah, but it was like almost normal.
which that alone, just because of what we know about Sutton, especially, made me think like, I think everyone, or like she's especially over this, and it just feels like this is a storyline and not an
Right.
actual story.
Well, it feels like Sutton never wanted to even talk about this. It's just everyone else is forcing her to talk about it. So she
Yeah.
like got into it the night before or whatever. But it felt like typically, maybe typically is not the right word, but just like she from the beginning just didn't want to talk about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, typically was not. I don't know why I thought of the word typically. Shouldn't have been there.
Once everyone gets there, we have like mini check-ins, if you will, with people. That's how I felt. What happened? We had Diana just not letting go that Sutton called herself a vegetarian, but also eats bacon.
This is like, I'm ready for Diana to be off my TV. I'm not here for her. She bores me. I feel like she's not up to the task of being a housewife because she doesn't want to engage. She shuts things down. And I'm just like, why are we watching her on television again? Why? I don't understand.
What I'm waiting for is the inevitable letdown of when um what we've gotten in previews and trailers of like, oh, you need a new enemy, here I am, or
Uh-huh.
something like that. Like when that doesn't have as much impact as everything is making it seem it will have.
Yeah.
But um yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I just like don't get what side she's on. Like I get that she's on Crystal's side, but even when she like tries to criticize Sutton, it's done weirdly. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Diana, her money is a level too high for me to like find remotely relatable. She doesn't try to be relatable, and
Right.
where I feel like almost every other housewife and every other um like city is, we know that they have money, but it's not enough where it's like, oh my god, I have never been in a store before type of shit.
Yeah, to me it's like the housewives are really built on like aspiration porn a little bit and like she's rich to a level where like I would never aspire to. Where like the only other person who I could think of who's like kind of over the top is Lisa Vanderpump, but her life is more realistic. She obviously goes to stores, she loves animals, she helps animals, she just has like a beautiful home and she obviously doesn't have as much money as Diana, but she's still like drives a car and goes to stores and
Mhm.
like has jobs. I mean, I don't know, maybe Diana has a job, but like, I mean, Candy, we know hustles, and I feel like she is more modest about. I mean, we know she has a ton of money, but she's a little more modest about it. The only other person I can imagine being over the top like this is LVP, and she was not even close to this level. It's just like this is not a person who I would ever be able to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
Like she lives in a different reality than me.
Mhm. Did you see what happened with her this week online?
I did see what happened with her this week online. So I guess I don't know what the post was.
It was a post, someone who is just like a shit poster of Bravo stuff
Oh
posted a
yes, now I'm
picture
remembering.
of
An
like
old
her,
photo.
yeah, however long ago, and her now, and said, I can barely tell if these are the same people.
Which fair, because in the picture they look like two completely separate people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess she wrote a comment back and said, "It must be awful being a Black content creator." She said more than that, but she said, "It must be awful being a Black content creator." The poster was Black, is
Yeah.
Black. And then she wrote a response saying, "Crystal called me screaming at me to understand what I meant by this comment." And then apparently she meant like shade, like posting snarky content. Like she meant
Mhm.
Black as in like dark content or something.
Oh.
But what? Like, I don't know. I understand that she's saying it was a language barrier, but like, girl, you live in the United States and you have for a long ass time and you speak English. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
All right. Well, I mean, she probably with that just got herself like 3 more seasons on this show.
Ugh,
So,
yeah, this is gonna be a crazy reunion, given all of, like the crazy social media stuff going on.
yeah, they don't even really need to talk about the season. Just talk
No,
about what's
I'm more
happening on
interested
social
in
media.
all the crazy shit going on social
Yeah,
media.
because nothing interesting has happened yet this season.
No,
So,
nothing.
um, Dorit lets us know she's not doing well on this trip, and I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. Listen, I'm done with Dorit. By the way, maybe that's insensitive of me, but like, I don't need to just hear her every 5 minutes be like, my anxiety. I'm like, okay, we get it.
Take this season off. Like
Take it
it
off. Yeah.
if everything that happened is what genuinely happened, I don't think there is a soul at Bravo who is like, no, Dorit.
Or
Like,
even like take a couple of episodes off, like as this is happening, like just be present, stay home. Like I just, I don't, again, I don't mean to be insensitive. What happened to her was terrible. Even if there was a gun or not, like whatever, aside from that, it's still like a violation of her life and her home. But like she's giving me nothing other than like, "Oh, I can't sleep. My confessionals are me whispering because I want you to feel bad for me." And I'm like, why are you talking like this? You've never spoken like this before.
yeah, especially in like she's not given anything in like a few years, which is the
Right.
issue. And so
And that's where the
now,
conspiracy theories kind of come from, that
yeah.
this was a setup because she thought she was going to get fired.
And with this, it's like, okay, now the only thing you can give is something that like nothing, the only thing that can happen is her recovering from whatever trauma she's
Right.
experienced. But politely, I don't want to be there for the fucking trip along the way. Like,
No,
do that in
me
the
neither.
privacy of your own home, or I'm maybe not home. That would if that was insensitive, that wasn't meant to be. In the privacy of your own life. Like
Right, right, right.
this isn't the place for it. This
No,
truly is not it. On a show that heightens drama and looks for reasons to make people mad at each other. Like you don't need that in your life right
right.
now. So,
And like, we don't need to see it.
yeah. Um So hopefully this is the last time we mention Dorit's
I hope
break-in
so.
this episode at least. I think it is. I can't remember it coming up much more, but we don't really see much Dorit besides that anyway. So after that, we get Erica talking about how she's on antidepressants and it's helped her a lot. And
Hmm.
Garcelle goes, "Would we know if you didn't take them?" And Erica goes, "You think I'm mean now when I don't take them?" And Garcelle cuts in and is like, "Would you say that you're a borderline bully?"
This was like so. Erica was like, "I'll take it, bitch." Like she like loved it. I was like,
Mhm.
I can't.
And then we got the confessional of her trying to like empower women, which like I get the sentiment of we're supposed to be polite and submissive and all of these things. And when you stand up for yourself, you're seen as bitchy or bully or a boss and like nothing positive. And it's just she's not the woman I need delivering that message, is really what it comes down to.
Um, yeah, maybe if she was getting like raked through the coals because of something that was like outside of her control, I would say like, okay, that's a nice message. But she is like not complying and she's lying about at least what's going on. She's like putting on a false pretense. She's showing no remorse for any of the victims whatsoever and then lying
Mhm.
and saying like, "Oh, I'm not allowed to show remorse." If there even are victims anyway, we don't even know. Like this is all on you, babe. This is not anything that anybody's doing to you. This is on you. So we skip the empowerment. We don't need it. You're the one here that's like causing all of this negative attention on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just hard to like take this motivational speech to heart.
Right.
We do find out something interesting after this, that Sutton has decided to take the LSAT. She wants to like try and become a lawyer. And I
Just
say,
casually deciding to take the LSAT.
well, okay, so I don't know too much about this. I don't know how much you know about it.
Nothing.
But like Kim Kardashian is like taking or took the baby bar, right? Do you think
Yes.
like Sutton's trying to do the same thing? It is in California.
Maybe. I mean, Kim Kardashian, I think, took it as many times as you could possibly take it without not being allowed to take it anymore. That's like how many times it took her to pass it. I think there's like with the baby bar, apparently there's like a limit for how many
Mm-hmm.
times you can take it. And it took her until the last time to pass it. And she was like going to school and stuff. I mean, it seemed more like whatever internet school.
Lessons,
Yeah.
tutoring.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of tutoring, Erica offered to help Sutton pass this because I guess Joe Girardi used to grade the bar, and this somehow means maybe Erica was grading the bar. Is that like the implication that
I
we were
do not
supposed to take from
understand.
that?
I don't understand any of this exchange here. And this is the only moment where I've ever been like, yeah, I understand what Kyle's talking. Because she's like, huh? Like, what are you guys talking? Can you imagine this? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And even Garcelle was like, Tom was going to the bar. This doesn't sound good. But I'm just so confused about their relationship because, like, in one second they hate each other, and in the next second they're like friends. It's very confusing.
It's, if I were to guess, it seems to me like, because I don't think the way Sutton approaches Erica is any different. It's the
Right.
way Erica approaches Sutton. And
Yeah.
so I think that Erica has moments where she's just like, it's just okay, let me engage like with
Yeah.
the group or whatever. It doesn't have to be a constant reminder of like, son, I think you're a bitch and I hate you. That would
Right.
be my guess, because like they are spending more and more time together, that if you're gonna
Hmm.
constantly bring that energy, no one is gonna have any sort of fun in
Yeah.
any way. So
Yeah.
that's my guess about it. It doesn't really seem like Sutton is any more keen on Erica. It just seems like
Right.
Erica has moments where she'll ignore her feelings towards Sutton and like interact with her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. I think we get more of it this week. I saw a little preview, and it seems like we get more of them being like friendly. It's strange.
The last thing we have, I'm gonna be a bitch about. I'm apologizing in advance.
Mm.
So, Lisa Rinna tells us how she was with a medium like as her mom was passing, or like before her mom was somewhere around that time, right?
Hmm.
And the medium says she's supposed to look for birds. That's her mother.
Yeah, you can
So,
be a bitch about this because I'm going to be a bitch about this too.
okay, cool. So she was like, I saw a painting with birds. There was a little ceramic bird in my make. Okay, the little ceramic bird thing in her makeup, I'll give you that. If you like
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how it got there or whatever, but like you're on a fucking beach.
Yeah, there are birds in Mexico. You're outside a lot. There are birds outside. I don't understand. Listen, maybe it helps her grieve or whatever, but like, what? There are birds everywhere.
If it was something like when you see, I don't know, like a woodpecker, think of your mom,
Yes, a
like that's your
specific bird.
mom. I
Yeah.
would be like, okay, cool, I get that. But when it's birds, so like when you go and buy a fucking rotisserie chicken at goddamn Costco, are you supposed to be thinking of your mother? Like that's a bird.
Maybe.
It's a
Yeah,
bird.
that is a bird.
Um,
That's true. It is a bird.
and I don't, that type of shit annoys me, because I want people to be able to feel their feelings, validate
Hmm.
whatever they're feeling, grieve the way they need to. But then to put stock into something as like, to me, that seems so like anytime you see birds, like anytime the sun rises, like,
Yeah, like you're
okay,
gonna see
yeah,
birds a lot. There's gonna be a lot of birds.
like your mom's a busy woman in
Yeah,
her
yeah.
afterlife,
Let her
but
rest. Let her rest.
shit.
Seriously. Let Lois rest.
So that part annoyed me.
Me
The
too.
ceramic bird, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
and
was
maybe
fine with
even like
that.
the earrings, because later on she points out
Oh,
that both who was it, Dorit, or I know Diana and someone else was wearing
Diana, and I wrote it down. Someone,
Sutton, maybe.
I don't think it was. It was Crystal. It was
Oh,
Crystal.
Crystal. Okay.
Crystal and Diana. Crystal wore bird earrings and then Diana's wore hummingbirds. So like that type of stuff, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like them, especially because like those two are probably like two of the most removed from Rinna.
Right.
That like that's a nice little way to show something. But if it's like the fifth time during breakfast that a seagull lands next to the
like, listen, you are on the beach. There are birds on the beach. Like, yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that we agree on that.
No, we definitely agree.
Sometimes I feel like such a bitch with like not. I don't know.
Me too.
I not to get like too into it, but I'm not religious. The only reason I want to believe in that there's an afterlife is because of like the whole Rainbow Bridge thing when you like see your dogs afterwards. Because I've had a ton of dogs. Otherwise, like I'm holding out no hope for anything. You know what I mean? Like so this type of stuff, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
No, I know.
And I get it. Like people need their shit to be able to navigate through. But overall, birds? Come on. Give me a certain bird.
I know.
Even like a blue bird or a red bird, like where just some sort of narrowing.
Something.
Okay. All right. I'm done with birds until I see one, and then I'll think of Lisa Rinna's mom. After breakfast, the women are at the beach, and there's some interaction about like, I don't want to take surf lessons. I'd rather go shopping. So we get like a split in the group. So we get Crystal, Lisa, Rinna, and Erica taking a surf lesson, which I didn't realize until like post their surf lesson that Diana had been at the beach the whole time.
Yeah, she was like just swimming in the water by herself the whole time.
Like, all of a sudden, she comes like walking up. They're like, "Oh, Diana, you look so good in that bathing suit," and I'm like, "Where the fuck did she come from?"
Right. So weird.
I literally typed Diana was at the beach. I wrote the whale time instead of the whole time, which is a little funny, but
that is funny.
The whale time, LOL. Like I was so taken aback by us seeing Diana.
Well, they like showed her swimming, and then like we never saw her again. Like there was like a shot of her like underwater, but then I don't know. I guess I assumed she left or something, but no, she was there the whole time just swimming.
It would have been dumb to assume that she was going shopping because she doesn't go to stores, but I did assume that she left. So anyway, that was probably like the biggest surprise to me this whole episode was when Diana showed up at the beach.
Yep.
So we get a lot of like cutting back and forth in these. I just have my notes set up as like at the beach and then in town. So I'm gonna roll through the beach part and then we can go to in town.
Okay.
Because bouncing back and forth, I didn't sort it that way and I don't remember what happened.
It's all good.
To be honest. So Erica cuts to the chase, which I do appreciate that about her. And she says, all right, like, let's have the hard conversation. Sutton called you a liar last night. She's never going to stop coming at you. What are you going to do about this? And Crystal is like, I don't want conflict. And Erica
You're
is
on the wrong show.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, you're also kind of causing it, but.
Right. That part too.
Minor detail.
Yeah.
And Erica's her hype man in the corner. Like, this is a boxing match. She's the one, like, cutting her in between rounds. Like, letting her face strain. She's like, yeah, fight for yourself. If you don't, you allow others to fill in the story for you. If you don't stand up and fight for your side, you'll get run over. Erica's just a motivational speaker these days. Shit. And then we get a lot of the women kind of like chiming in saying like, yes, this is true. And I think it was Diana who was like, that like made a comment about her being a little girl again, about Crystal being a little girl. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I hate that they're like infantile. Well, I don't know the word, but
I know I could probably spell the word if I type it out, but I
definitely
can't say it. I've seen it too many times on the internet and never heard it.
Yes, exactly. But they're treating her like she's a little girl, and she's not. And as Dorit said the other day, I think it was in last week's episode, she's 38 years old. She has kids. She's a mother. Like, she's not a child. She's not a child. She's almost 40. Like, she's an adult woman.
Yeah, and it seems like she's barely able to have a conversation about it here with women who really, if they're not on her side, or at least entertaining her side and are not shooting her down for how she's done this, which like this would be the place to kind of find your feet because you know that this conversation is going to happen again. But she just like sobbed through all of it.
Yeah, she was just crying almost like uncontrollably. It was so strange. This was a very strange. Also, I just can't with Erica where she's like, the one thing, don't call me a liar. And I'm like, we get it, but like, you are a liar. So stop like this. It's just, you're protesting too much. If you weren't a liar, you'd be like, I really don't care. Call me a liar. I really don't care. I know at the end of the day, I'm not lying. And the truth will come out eventually. That is what it is. But instead, she like freaks out every time. I don't know. It's wild to me. She's just an animal.
While you were talking, I just had to let you know that I noticed that you are rocking your non-founding fathers bun. It looks great. So,
oh, thank you.
Sorry, I listened to everything, you said, but I was like, oh, she's wearing her hair the way we talked about. Okay. So yeah, I agree, especially like at this point with Erica. We know your storyline. We know what you're going through. She wasn't the one who necessarily said, hey, Bravo, go back and edit in every time I flipped out someone called me a liar.
Right.
But even without that, connecting the dots, it's like, right now this really isn't about you. I get how you can connect it because Sutton did call Crystal a liar. And right now, if you're going to be the good friend that you are like at least attempting to be, we don't need to talk about you at the moment.
Right. It's not about you. Who cares? No one cares. No one cares.
So Lisa Rinna says that Crystal told her that she was dropped by 14 friends. So this is this whole thing that's going on that it seems to give life to this whole episode, essentially, that many of the women on the cast had heard from at least one of these 14 women. Who knows how many they actually heard it from. That this is Crystal's MO, that she likes to create drama. And we heard last episode, like, become best friends with the person in power. We didn't really hear that this episode. So I'm not sure what the friends actually told the cast then, because what is it? Like, is it she likes people, like her way of keeping people around is making them feel bad for her by like ostracizing someone? Is that it?
I honestly have no idea. And this is another thing that's like, just say why you heard that she was dropped by 14 friends. Like, I feel like we heard 14 friends, 14 friends, 14 friends over and over again, but we don't know like, bring them on the show. Just give the details. I need to know the details. Otherwise, I do not care at all.
Yeah.
I don't care. And it's so strange because like, Rinna brings it up. Kyle brings it up. Obviously, Sutton brought it up last episode. And, you know, she kind of talks about it this episode too. It's like, okay, can we just like know why she was dropped then? Like, obviously, you guys all know. The rumor is that Teddy and Crystal are good friends or were good friends. So the rumor, I guess, is that like Teddy probably told Kyle, or the theory, I guess, is more, maybe not a rumor, but that Teddy told Kyle. Maybe Teddy was part of the 14 friends. Like, I really don't know. But that would confirm why Kyle, which obviously we haven't gotten to yet, but why Kyle has such a chip on her shoulder against Crystal. She hates Crystal. I mean, she's not even trying to hide it. She hates Crystal.
Yeah. She does not take a very unbiased approach with Crystal.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Nitro barked for the first time in like 3 podcast episodes. It wasn't that loud, but now I'm just teasing him with a treat. Anyway, so yeah. I just want, I don't even know if I want to know, but it feels like if we didn't have this whole like group rumor type of thing that like we had to get rid of Crystal from our friend group, that this whole episode doesn't exist. But
also, like, are we in high school?
I mean, Crystal might be. She's a child, but everyone else,
yeah, according to Diana,
graduated. So
yeah.
After that, we get Erica and Crystal going to get a drink together, which is where like Crystal really just like loses her shit and cries the whole time. Like she was kind of okay through the beginning part of the conversation, but then she just like is sobbing at the bar counter, and it's like 11 a.m. Like you get it together. You still have a whole day ahead of you.
I know. This was a lot. And we never really got like a full explanation as to like why she was crying like this. It was very strange. Like usually I feel like there would be at least a confessional of her explaining why she was so emotional, but I don't think we got anything explaining it, right?
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
We cut over to the women who are in town. And if I randomly mute, it's because I've felt a sneeze in my nose for the last like 2 minutes, and I don't want to sneeze in your ear. So sorry in advance for any weird cutout. But we go to town, and it's Sutton, Dorit, Garcelle, and Kyle. And they go to this boutique and a bar all in one, which like I actually think is a really cool idea.
Love it.
Yeah, like please give me a glass of wine as I walk around and don't buy anything because I'm poor. Actually, I probably could have afforded things in that store because it did seem like if the most expensive thing is $5,000, which was that ring or whatever, then I could there's got to be something that I could buy. So like, I don't think I would have felt too out of my element, but give me that glass of wine anyway.
Yeah, that's all I want.
And naturally, Sutton is the one that likes this most expensive item. This comes up a couple of times. Kyle offers to buy them all a gift, which I don't understand when they do that. Like when it's one thing when they go to the store and like one of the girls couldn't make the trip or something, or even if it's like someone who maybe stayed back or had an obligation, like I can understand that, but then why is it you have 3 other women who clearly get paychecks, at least from the show and from other venues, and you're like, I'm gonna buy you a gift. What?
Maybe this is just what people with money do. I have no idea.
I don't know. What's that like? Anyway, I just had to bring them up because that confused me. We get a little bit of fashion talk where Kyle bought like a piece of lingerie and they're talking about how she'll like wear that with a jacket over it. And Sutton likes to wear a jacket with nothing underneath, which I had never noticed.
Also never noticed.
But I don't even think I've seen Kyle. Have we seen Kyle dress that way? I feel like she's always in one of her like kimono things.
Yeah, she loves like a kimono or a caftan. I feel like we've seen her sometimes in like a blazer, but I don't know if I've ever recalled seeing like lingerie under it.
I think the sneeze is coming. We got it.
Bless you.
It's been there for so long.
Bless you. That's the best feeling, is to just get it out.
I'm usually a double sneezer, so if there's another quick mute, that's why. Okay. Once we get through the shopping, we obviously are going to talk about Crystal and Sutton again because this is so interesting. And
so interesting.
Yes. So Sutton says she feels like she's back at the beginning again with her friendship with Crystal. And Kyle says, like, I think this is more than just twisting words. And when Sutton makes a comment like, I think that there's good in Crystal. Like, I'm not afraid of Crystal. I'm not afraid of Erica. And they try to like make the difference with Erica in that trying to make her seem like she's not as bad as Crystal. And Kyle's like, Erica's reactive. Crystal's manipulative. When she used the word manipulative, that's when I was like, oh, she 100% is.
Yeah,
like,
she's totally out on Crystal.
And then Sutton has this like, okay, I'm going to use a term here. This white savior complex to me.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yep. Where she's like, I want to help her be a better person.
What? Like, is she a bad person? I don't know that. I don't know. It's I don't know.
Is it
Sutton? Sutton's losing stock with me.
I
came in being high on Sutton, and I'm very much not high on Sutton anymore. But I'm also not high on Crystal. I'm on like team no one here for now, and we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But right now, I'm just like, I'm over this, and I don't want to talk about either one of these women or watch them.
Yeah, it's kind of bad where like Lisa Rinna is probably annoying me the least this season.
Yeah, and that freaks me when it's Lisa Rinna and like Kyle, who are the two that are bothering me the least. That's how you know the season is really bad.
I mean, like Garcelle isn't annoying me, but I feel like
Garcelle is not annoying me either at all.
Although I'm not like huge on Garcelle's involvement in this right now. Like both her and Kyle to me are taking too much of a producer role in this whole thing where I don't know. Maybe it's because Lisa Rinna wasn't really around for a couple of episodes because of her mom that she's in first place for me, but she's annoying me the least. So
yeah, I feel like Rinna sometimes has like a decent showing on the episodes, but then when you realize that she's actually just like a monster garbage person at all times, that it's like, oh yeah, no, she's not. I can't root for her. But she yeah, I think for Garcelle, it's just like she is just Sutton's really good friend and probably has like vowed like, nope, I'm gonna be on your side, barring anything like totally crazy. We're gonna go into this together, just like the Fox Force 5, whatever, 4 now, kind of do with each other, where they like don't really turn on each other. It feels like she had that with Sutton coming into this season, so she's like really riding hard for Sutton.
Is the one they lost Erica?
Teddy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got it. But she's not like really lost. She's just not on the show lost.
Thank God. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wish she was really lost.
Just out in the woods.
Just go get lost somewhere. Yeah.
Let's see. So Garcelle said it was a powerful move to say that you've heard she does things like this with her other friends. And Kyle said she thinks Crystal just wants to be liked and is doing it to make you look bad. So that's kind of like where I got is that what she is, like what she does in her past? I don't know. But Kyle said that she had also heard that Crystal does this and she wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, but things are matching up with both the past and present.
Tell us what you heard. Tell us what you heard.
I mean, yeah, they are in a way doing what Crystal did to us.
They are. It's just so, except it's like so much less interesting. I do not care. I don't care. People have falling outs with their friends. It doesn't matter to me.
Right. And Kyle asks, like, what does she gain from throwing you under the bus? And we get Dorit's one line of, well, she potentially gains Garcelle's approval by throwing someone under the bus, which I do think makes sense. Because if there's anyone who's going to understand Crystal feeling that Sutton made an insensitive comment when it comes to race, it's going to hopefully be Garcelle in her eyes. And so that to me made sense. And I was like, okay, Dorit, like, thank you for providing some insight.
I actually forgot Dorit was even there. But yeah, I mean, I think it is also kind of like, maybe not important to remember, but this whole thing started because of what Garcelle said. Like, Crystal never would have said this if Garcelle didn't question her and say, like, that felt like you were setting her up. And that caused Crystal to kind of react and say, well, no, she said a lot of, she said something really dark. I'm not going to repeat it.
Right. And Kyle just wants to know, like, how is she going to be liked by us while also trying to look like a victim the entire time? And do you think that she'll come to us and be like, hey, I made this whole big thing and I'm sorry? That's kind of where that ends.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not where it ends forever.
No, it's not.
We get Lisa and Erica together after that, getting their glam done. Kyle FaceTimes in, and here's Kyle, like getting the scoop, obviously. And both Lisa and Erica were just like, yeah, she cried like the whole time.
This actually made me laugh. They were like, nope, she cried. She cried a lot. Actually cried the whole time. She was just crying the entire time. This made me laugh. And I don't want to laugh at these two, but they did make me laugh.
And Kyle was like, what was the worst part for her? And they both were just like, honestly, don't remember. She was just crying.
No idea. Yeah.
Crying. So we get to the last part of the episode, but it takes a little while, which is dinner. And like we mentioned earlier, Crystal and Diana show up wearing bird earrings for Lisa's mom. So that's cool. We like it. We get Lisa trying to kind of like get Diana to showcase something about herself with this book that she did.
And
that
this is what I want to hear about.
Me too. Fucking drop this shit.
Yeah.
With Sutton
Tell me
and
about Room
Crystal.
23. I want to know why people thought that this was a black book and why people think you're a madam.
Yeah. Straight
Tell me
up.
about it. I want to know. And listen, Rinna tried for us. She tried.
Yeah. You know what? Rinna, you're okay right now.
Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that.
If I just take you at your face value on this show currently and ignore a whole ton of other shit, you're okay right now.
Right. In this one very specific moment, you tried, and we see you for that.
Mm-hmm. Well, as Lisa was like, no, tell everyone. And Dinah's like, we've already had this conversation, which is such a rude response to it. And like, she said it twice, which when she walked away, some of the other like women tied together, like, oh, I don't think she wanted to talk about it. Like, well, no fucking shit. But Diana could have been like, let's talk about this later. Like,
also, like, no, let's not talk about this later. You're on a reality TV show. This is why you're already not a good housewife. You talk nothing about yourself other than we had 2 episodes where we got her explaining that she flies people ahead while she travels. Why do we need to have this conversation 2 times? Talk about the book. I want to know about the book.
So I have a question that I feel like you'll know more about than I do.
Okay.
Is this supposed to, did they include this to parallel the Jeffrey Epstein stuff?
I don't know. I'm not sure, honestly. But those are the rumors that there's an Epstein connection. And I don't know. Maybe.
Here's dots that I connected myself. I obviously don't know if they're connected correctly. I could see Diana not wanting to talk about this book because then it can easily jump into Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Yeah. Or the Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe the trial's going on with that. I don't know when they filmed.
Right. Or, I mean, it's just smart to not connect yourself to that in any way.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
After this, they have a ceremony to cleanse the energy. And again, both, especially Rinna, but Erica and Rinna made me laugh in their confessionals in this, where it's like they're doing the sage and all this stuff. And Rinna's like, this is not, good luck.
Yeah.
Erica's like, there's not enough shit to cleanse the energy here.
Yeah.
And so I said we, like me and Nitro are a fucking pair, because we are, but as you know, Nitro loves watching Housewives.
Yeah.
He lays on the corner of the bed as I sit on my side. Nitro's not much of a cuddler, so we're always like same space, but like not touching.
Separate.
Yeah. So he's laying on this front corner and he's laying there just like chewing his stick, right? And then, do you remember the horns that they blew?
Oh yeah, how can I forget?
Nitro just like at alert and made this like, what is it, just staring? He's like, what are these motherfuckers doing? And then the second one, he's like, this is still going. So I include that in my notes that the horns really threw Nitro through a loop.
Yeah, poor Nitro.
That was the last good part for me of the episode, because then we get into all this fucking shit again. So I was like, maybe they could just blow horns for the last 13 minutes. I would actually like to see my dog's reaction to that versus this whole goddamn conversation again.
Would you like to see Kyle and Dorit's reaction to that, though? Did that entertain you? Because nothing annoys me more than Kyle overacting and overreacting to things. And this is exactly what she did. She always does this, and it's so obnoxious.
I didn't even notice because I was watching my dog. So
fair. Okay.
Nitro sidetracked me from whatever was going on, because
good.
I was laughing a lot at him. It just, anyway. So no, I didn't see it, but I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
She just did the typical Kyle thing, you know.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I can't remember who asked the question. I didn't write it down, but someone asked, so what happened after surfing? And Erica, you know, the leader of the surfing group, the Johnny Tsunamis, if you will, throwback to the Disney Channel original movie that we talked about last night. We talked about Crystal and Sutton. I said if it was me, I would not handle being called a liar well. And I told Crystal to stand up for herself. And Erica brought up Sutton bringing up the group of friends comment.
Yep.
Oh, okay, your screen blinked, but mine didn't. So, which probably meant I was getting disconnected. But I don't have the little Wi-Fi symbol. Okay, anyway, we're back. We're better than ever. Sutton says, yep, she has a reputation for doing this. And Crystal goes, you know this of me. And Sutton said, yes, it's the same thing you've done to me. Erica says, Crystal says she feels like an easy target, which to me, Erica saying this does make it seem like Crystal's an easy target because Crystal is not saying this about herself.
Right. And I also feel like if you feel like if it were me and I felt like I was an easy target, I wouldn't be taking this the same way as Crystal. I wouldn't be so like quiet and just like doing what everyone says to do in this moment. I would be like fighting back. And I don't know that I would have said or wanted anyone else to say I feel like an easy target. I don't want anybody to know that I feel like that. I want to like I want to dissuade that perception of myself if that's what I think.
I still think Crystal like has it in her.
No, especially, she seems like not into this at all.
I can't remember who said it, but someone said it of like she's not used to being challenged like this.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true.
Probably, but she was challenged last season.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole season. So I don't know why she's being so like she's recoiling so much because she stood up for herself last season.
Yeah, I think though last season, like she did have at least Kyle to be there for the like so you don't see color things because then there was like the ringleader of everything could validate yes, this conversation happened, where right now we're still on the fact that she said something dark and then when she repeated it, it didn't land with anyone in terms of being dark. So now it just seems like you're just dramatic as fuck.
It's true.
And that's my guess why she's probably shutting down a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I also would just be fucking tired of it at this point. Like I probably would have left.
Tired of it. Yeah.
I mean, I am tired of it. I can't imagine living this.
Yeah.
And then having to watch it again so that you can comment about it on like Watch What Happens Live or whatever.
Right. I know.
Which, by the way, I watched half an episode of last night. And as someone who like listens to podcasts when I do on 1.5 speed, it feels like that show is naturally on 1.5 speed.
Yeah, it moves fast, really fast.
It's just so much. So fast.
Was this the episode with Kenya and Iman?
Yeah.
It was a good episode.
Yeah, I watched until I did appreciate because Iman like kind of slowed it down a bit because he just like didn't know what the fuck he was getting himself into. And like Andy's like, okay, tell me right now, like, what's your wife's sexiest trait? Or like, what's this? And he's like, well, I'm like, thank you, because I need a second to breathe too.
Right.
Iman.
I know. Andy Cohen moves on like, yeah, you're right. Naturally like a 1.5 speed.
Yeah, it was just a lot. I'm thankful that the reunion, like he isn't like that in the reunion, but I guess
it's because it's live TV and it's only 30 minutes.
They do have to be quick. I understand all of it. It just then like have one guest instead of two.
Right. I know. Sometimes they do if it's someone they want to spend more time with, but it's I don't know, it's weird.
Okay. So yeah, I watched half of it, but where am I in these notes? There's so many dashes, so many bullets in my outline. Okay. Let's see. So Kyle says, I'm not buying this. You just don't like Sutton. And Sutton says, okay, Lisa, why don't you... Oh, this isn't a confessional. Sutton... because Kyle is saying this to Erica. You just don't like Sutton. This is why you're like defending Crystal here. It's not because you actually like are on her side. It's because you don't like Sutton. And Sutton in confessional is like, okay, Lisa, why don't you ask Erica where she is and all of her legal stuff? To which it's like, oh, if you had said that at the dinner table, we could be off this topic.
We could
be on to something different. I don't know if it's better, but at least different. And sometimes different seems like better. Sometimes the grass is greener on the other side.
Right. And I think it's Garcelle who says maybe to us in a confessional that it feels like Erica just doesn't want to, is like stirring stuff because she wants everybody to focus on other people, which it totally feels like
Yeah.
that. That's why she's like so involved in this.
And speaking of Garcelle, she was like, Crystal, why don't you speak up? When you stay quiet, it makes it seem like we are ganging up on you. And like Crystal's reply to this was, well, I guess I can be better at picking words.
Yeah, like any words, like a word, any words, just
Just
words in general,
a
using
subject
words.
and a
Yeah,
verb together,
anything.
please.
Yeah, any
If you
words
want,
would be good. Yeah.
that would be phenomenal. So then we get Sutton saying, you keep attacking my character. Crystal goes, so you attack mine in response? And Sutton goes, okay, I apologize for saying what I've heard from other people, but I will not take back how you have done the same thing to me repeatedly. And Erica kept butting in, and this is where Garcelle shuts her down and is like, Erica, you're really annoying me right now, which,
Yeah.
good on Garcelle.
Yeah. She's annoying me too, especially when she's like, oh, I find this conversation so funny right now because this is what you did to me. And it's like, actually, this is like a totally separate situation, completely different situation, completely different. And Garcelle had, Garcelle was like, no, that this is not the same thing.
And Garcelle said in her confessional, like, last year she'd only talk about herself. This year it seems like she has time for everybody else. So this next part is where, I mean, especially after her daughter's former best friend kind of chiming in on TikTok saying like, yeah, actually she was racist towards me. But even more so, the stock dropped in this next part for me, which is when Sutton says to Crystal, like, you keep attacking my character. No, wait, I did that part right. Moving forward is important to me. Crystal says that. And Sutton says, say that out loud for everyone to hear that you won't do this to me again. And Crystal was like, well, last night you said you hated me. And Sutton's like, no, I didn't. Diana said, yes, you did. And this bickering goes back and forth.
And
she did.
Yeah.
And Diana does keep her composure in this. Sutton like starts yelling at her and has to leave the table. So,
and even Erica here, again, this is another moment where it feels like Erica's like, Sutton, wait, you're like putting her hands there. But it almost felt like she was like almost having Sutton's back in that moment, being like, calm down. Like, I'm just, again, so confused by the nature of a lot of these relationships.
Well, yes. And here's where we get another moment of like Kyle being a producer because they leave the table and Sutton's like, I need a break, take my mic off. And Kyle's like, no, keep it on.
Yeah,
like,
she's like, you need, because she wanted the mic to catch everything she was saying.
Who signs these paychecks? Does Kyle? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, Kyle is out here just fucking like, it's crazy to me. I'm watching this.
It is crazy.
I mean, Kyle would have still been wearing her mic, so the conversation still would have been.
That's true. It still would have been picked up.
But I don't know.
I don't know. And then Diana's just crying at the table.
Yeah. Diana starts crying.
Everybody's crying.
And Garcelle is like, this is too much. She straight up
I'm going to
says,
eat my artichoke.
This is too much. Yeah. So when Sutton comes back, then Crystal, Diana, and Dorit leave the table. And Kyle's like, Crystal put herself in this situation.
Kyle does not have time for Crystal. She's just not here for her.
And Garcelle is on Kyle's side. So both producers are on the same side here, which is not
the
great.
Producers are working together. Yeah.
Usually, like, did you watch, what's it called? The show on Lifetime that was like satire of The Bachelor.
Unreal.
Yeah, I was like, I know, I was gonna say Unmatched, but I knew that wasn't it. Did you watch it?
I watched the first season. It was good.
The first season was good. It kind of like jumps the shark after like maybe season 2. It just gets like super fucking outlandish.
Yeah.
And to me, like when I'm watching this, I'm like, oh shit, like usually the producers are like in competition to keep their character like but both producers are on the same side. Like what's gonna Crystal's gonna fall and she's gonna get fucking shredded. No producer wants Crystal right now.
No, it's rough.
But and Erica was like, this is where Erica realized that Garcelle and Kyle are on the same side with this, because you
Yeah.
both believe that she's being manipulative. And Kyle said, I didn't believe the other 14 friends till I saw his behavior. And Erica was like, okay, well, I haven't heard this, so can someone fill me in?
Yeah.
And Garcelle
And fill
just
me
said,
in, please.
yeah, you just agreed with Erica. So
I know, I hate this. This is why I hate the season. I hate this.
we've had a lot of like, okay, Erica, you're not really wrong here.
I know.
And Garcelle just basically says she's not to be trusted. Erica says, you guys will get past this. Crystal, you just need to stand up for yourself. And Dorit said that Crystal's apology seemed genuine. So Lisa Rinna, though, again, leaving us here with like almost the high note of like lovely, absolutely lovely.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
everyone kind of like mocking it. I didn't like
Rinna just feels like she has no time for just this situation at all. And that's why I feel like I agree with her. She's just like, even the dinner before, she's like, yeah, it's already bad for you. This is already bad.
Yeah.
Yep, it's already not good. But it's like she just doesn't have time to like involve herself. She's just there on the sidelines.
If you think about it for a second, okay, so this is a just formed thought. So debunk me at any point.
Okay.
Dorit, Rinna, and Erica are probably the three that have the most going on in their lives outside of the storylines within the show.
Yeah.
Within the context of at least this episode and maybe even an episode back, if you ignore Dorit always bringing up the home invasion, which ignore that part, it's really been the three of them who have been the people who have said the most logical shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they've kind of been just like watching from the sidelines and giving commentary versus actually being involved.
Which probably goes to show, like, if this whole show isn't your life, then, like, you maybe have a little bit more perspective. Given Garcelle, like, I don't include Garcelle in that because I think Garcelle actively knows what she's doing right now. I think, like, Garcelle, if anything, is on a mission to just dethrone Kyle. And good on you. I support you, Garcelle. So I'm not including her in this. So I just think it's kind of interesting. Like the three who kind of have their own shit going on are the ones that it's like, yeah, actually maybe speak up just a little bit more with some reason and logic, please.
Right.
I kind of said it, but I didn't like stress the point enough because I thought there was more to the conversation. But Sutton really lost me when she was like talking to Crystal, like Crystal was a third grader who maybe just like, I don't know, like swore at their teacher, you know, like
agreed.
It was like,
where she
apologize
made her
one more time, like
in
front of
like,
everyone.
Repeat after me. Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, okay. I did not like that at all.
I didn't like that. I don't like this. I need to fix her. I need to help her. I need to not Garcelle. I don't think Sutton realizes how much she has to learn about
I don't think so either.
Her white privilege.
I completely agree. She comes off as so extremely ignorant to me that I'm just like, yeah, you probably did say some fucked up shit. And Crystal probably is just not trying to throw you under the bus right now. So she's saying like, yeah, it was this pool thing, but it probably was, or the hot tub thing or whatever. And it probably was something else. And she's just going to let it go.
I firmly believe that it could just be that statement, but with Sutton saying it less than 24 hours after she said she doesn't see color, and they've had this like very like emotionally heightened conversation that just didn't land well with Crystal, and rightfully so, because Crystal is Chinese. And she was like, oh, and she like Sutton basically used the diversity on the cast as her examples. Like there was like a black girl here and a Chinese girl there. And it's like, are you saying those because I'm Chinese and Garcelle is black? Like, so I can understand like Crystal taking it away. Just obviously it's not going to have the same impact on everyone else a year later and all that. It's just all of it. Like,
I know. I'm so over it all. I'm just over it all.
And it's not Garcelle's job to like teach Sutton about her white privilege, I guess.
Right.
But it will be interesting to me to see if, like, there's no way Garcelle hears all this and doesn't at least keep an eye out for it.
Well, so I think on social media, I saw something that said, I'm gonna get the quote wrong, and I don't think it was a quote necessarily from Garcelle, but it was like a quote from, I don't know, something. But it basically alluded to Garcelle not caring for Crystal in today's current day.
Yeah.
So it seems like they are not on good terms. So and she's still good with Sutton.
All right. I mean,
Which is interesting because it feels like at the beginning of the season, I don't remember if it was Crystal saying this or Sutton saying this somewhere, but it was like, yeah, everybody went through things on the season, but they're all in a good place now. And I think it was Crystal, said that she was still in a good place with Sutton and Garcelle, but it seems like things have changed since watching the show. So I don't know.
I'm not at like OC levels in terms of fed up with Beverly Hills yet. However, their attempt at mixing things up has not been successful.
No, and I think the problem is, and it's like this every single season, that they just pick one thing and they cannot let it go. And it just is so tired and boring. And these women have alliances with each other that they don't shake up. So it's like we're never going to actually see anything interesting. They're just going to try and puppet master the situations to benefit their own like alliance that they have with each other.
I'm really excited for you to watch Miami because Miami has this like core group, if you will, in season 4, like in the newest one. Sorry, my Diet Coke just got me. But the outsiders who are like making their first appearance on the show do have an impact, and there's issues, but like nothing's being dragged on too long. They move on from things quickly. Like Miami takes the good things of Beverly Hills and just does it so much better.
Yeah.
So I'm
excited to watch it. Yeah. I'm excited to watch it.
I think I'm probably over halfway through season 4 at this point.
Okay.
I have Googled Larsa Pippen both on Google and on Instagram more times than I would care to admit at this point.
That's fair.
Because in the episode I was just watching, it was implied that she hooked up with Michael B. Jordan, who is like, I drive the Michael B. Jordan bandwagon. Like I've been on that thing for fucking years. Okay. When I say like 12, 13 years back when he was on like
The Wire,
Friday Night Lights. Well, not so much The Wire because he was like a child then. I was a child then too.
Yeah.
He's only 3 years older than me, or no, 2 years older than me. I just forgot how old I was. Maybe 1 year. Okay, I turned 34 in 2 days. So 1 year older than me. He's 35. Good math, Kari. You have 2 fucking degrees in that. But basically from his like first adulthood roles, like I've definitely seen his stuff prior to that, but when I'm like, oh dude, you are not only a great actor, but if I had the opportunity, I would gladly seize it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
I've been on that bandwagon for a long time. And she implied that she hooked up with Michael B. Jordan. And so I spent some time Googling today being like, this bitch, did she get to hook up with Michael B. Jordan?
Did Google confirm?
No, most of it said like, this doesn't seem reasonable. So
okay.
She basically gave the initials of an actor and said they were MJ that she hooked up with. And one of the other cast members, and her confession was like, and Michael B. Jordan. And then they like cut to Larsa's confessional and someone was like, was it Michael B. Jordan? She goes, no comment. But then I Googled and everything on Google was like, this doesn't make sense. So
very interesting.
But yeah, definitely like, I don't know when your plans are for watching Miami. Because doesn't a new season come out? No, they're filming right now.
They're filming now, yeah.
Yeah. Once you get past season 1 was slow. Season 2, as I told you, is maybe my favorite Housewives season ever. And then it just continues to be good. It takes all the things that you want to happen in Beverly Hills that doesn't happen with this group, and they do it, and they do it very well. So
I'll need to watch it. I feel like I'm like having not housewives burnout, but just like burnout in general. So when I have downtime, I'm just like binging nonsense.
I get it, but that's the thing is I think that this could unburn you out, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because you don't have to take notes on it. That's like one of the,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I know we said we'd talk about season 2 or whatever, but even still, like, that doesn't need to be a
Mhm.
notes thing. I'll even talk about just like, we could do a side episode on Miami in general. I
Yeah.
would love that. Miami has like revived me.
Okay. All right. Then I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Yeah, it is get through be in a good mood through season 1. It's only 7 episodes, but then once you get to season
Okay.
2, it's like this is fucking gold. So,
Okay. Okay.
all right.
All right. I'm sold. I'm
We
sold.
did our Miami little in between thing. It's just weird also for me to like talk to you about housewives that you haven't seen because you're like
I
my
know. Our roles are
guru.
reversed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like every single time I'm like, okay, help me on ABC, I think like XYZ or
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm over here being like, nah.
I
This is the
know.
one thing I know. It's so good. Okay. Let's transition north of Miami to Atlanta. Take a little road
Yes.
trip
Yes.
to the ATL. And I guess like before going into it, what do you think of this episode? Where are you at just with Atlanta right now in general? Because we have DM Rock saying that on this episode of Atlanta made me laugh because Kenya moving Drew's chair and it's scraping the whole time. That starts like I can't remember what part of the episode it's in. I know it's when Drew and Sonia are like going at it, but
Yeah.
we just
It's at
have
that
some
like
like
rooftop thing they're at.
I was
Outdoor
trying
thing.
to like write the topics for this in our like little summary thing that I post, and I just like couldn't even focus in on one or two ideas because I felt like so
Yeah.
much happened, but nothing like major. But it was all like
Yes.
worthwhile stuff that happened this episode. That where are you at with all this?
I am enjoying my time with the Atlanta ladies as I always do. It feels like there's not a lot of substance happening. I'm out on Sonia. I've decided I'm out on her, and I don't like that she's making me be on Drew's side because I don't ever want to be on Drew's side, but I am. I think on some of this stuff. But I'm enjoying it. It's weird because I can't really like put into words why I'm enjoying the season,
Mm-hmm.
but I am. But it also feels like not that much is happening, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with it because I'm just enjoying like watching the women who I enjoy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of it kind of feels a little like we're reaching. Like the stuff with Kenya and Marlo, it's very obvious, and I think Kenya has said on Twitter or something like that that like she was not allowed to go to this thing because she had to pass a COVID test.
Yeah.
Why are we stretching this out? Marlo obviously knows what the protocol is. Like, why are we stretching out this? Like, Kenya was in full glam and going to the doctor and didn't show up. That to me, I'm like, this is a stretch, and I don't like that they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes with this because obviously it was a COVID situation. We're not dumb. But the rest of it, I'm enjoying.
I have a theory on that. I
Okay.
think Marlo is taking swings at the people she thinks who should be supporting her the most when it comes to like her sister and her
Mhm.
nephews and taking care of them and are not living up to the expectations she has of them in terms
Yeah.
of helping her. Because if you
Yeah.
think of it, like she's going after Candy and she's going after Kenya. And I think
Yeah.
she expects a lot out of them.
That's
And
fair. I could see that.
so, but I just don't think like it's not. I don't think that like Marlo has the emotional maturity to express that because she does in
Yeah.
some instances of this, but instead of having, I think she thinks she's tried with them, like where she sat down
Yeah.
with Candy and was like, "Let's
Mhm.
do family shit together,"
Candy and her
and that,
crazy ass green makeup.
yeah, that because it didn't land with Candy the way that Marlo wanted it to, and Kenya again like implies something like this with like the clothes
Yeah.
that we'll talk about. To me, it's like this is hurt Marlo taking swings at the people she thinks
Yeah.
should be supporting her the most, as opposed to like, and I'm guilty of this. Like, I'm only gonna ask you once for
Yeah.
something, and if you
Same,
don't
same.
respond the way that I either expect you to, or want you to, or even need you to, I'm not gonna ask you again. And so, like, I almost understand in a way her reaction of
Yeah.
like making it about something else when really I think she's hurt, that like I think she's struggling, and
I think so too. Yeah. Hurt people
that's
hurt
where this is
people.
coming from. Yeah,
I
exactly.
agree. And listen, the things I hold grudges on, I'm not going to say anything on this podcast just because it's public, but you would be surprised at the things that I will be like, oh, I'm not friends with this person because of this. Like, that's not really the real true reason. Obviously, like deeper than that, but like there are just some straws that break the camel's back that are just like inexplicable when you already have like a feeling about things. And I agree with you. I feel like that's probably where Marlo is at with Kenya. And like obviously she probably knows that Kenya, the thing about it is though, like I wish she could just say, like, I don't give a shit if she's sick or not. Like, this is the last straw with Kenya. And was just like
Hmm.
honest about that.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get there at some point. I don't know.
All I'll say to that is, my Las Vegas / marathon trip drama that
I
happened with it.
do. I
And
do.
um I am yet to decide if I am going to hold a grudge or not on that. But the inner me really wants to,
Yeah.
for the sake of like the peace of people around me, specifically my best friend. I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
put this fucking out there. Like they're never gonna listen to this. TLDR is that my best friend's running a marathon, and I saw her first marathon, and so I wanted to see this one. And so I was actually gonna road trip out there, but then I found out I have to teach a class, so I bought tickets, like flights, to go and see this. And she's doing it with like one of her best friends. And after the marathon, they were going to go to Vegas. They're going to do all this stuff. This friend works for a very prominent social media company, recently got a raise, makes more money in a day than I probably do in like
Hmm.
a week type of shit. And doesn't have anybody to spend it on. So
Yeah.
he had planned all these extravagant things, but had not told her. My best friend is an extravagant person. Um, and so when my best friend told this person, like, hey, Kari's going to come, he flipped out. And she called me and she was like, listen, for the sake of all this, like, can you just cancel your flights? And I was still going to go and like try to still see the marathon, and then, but meet up with like our other friend. However, I know that they'd meet up, and I just don't want to be like sitting at a dinner as someone who was like, I don't want her here. Well, this friend, like the other friend, like text me, was like, I'm sorry, I hurt you, I overreacted. And for me, like, if my friend and I had planned something like this and it was just the two of us, she is my best friend, like the two of us could plan cool shit that we just want to do.
Hmm.
If he were to be like, oh, I can go, like, okay, come on, like, it wouldn't,
Yeah.
and so uh there was some drama with that, and now I have to decide, do I want to give this person my time of day ever again, or do I hold my pettiness in? There's a little bit extra that I won't put fully on blast because um
Yeah.
I haven't even told best friend about it. But
Yeah.
in conclusion, listen, Marlo, I get it in a way, but
Yeah.
I just don't know if like. I think it's like partially because of who it's against for me, that like it's Kenya and
Yeah.
Candy, who are two of Candy is my favorite ever. Kenya's up there for me. She's probably in like my
Yeah. I
top
love
5.
Kenya. Hmm.
Um, so it's like, listen, Marlo, I know you just got your peach, but you're gonna need to settle the fuck down. So
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's like I think partially why it bothers me is because it feels like they're really trying not to break the fourth wall here,
yeah,
where it would just be like, yeah, she needed to get a COVID, or like, why can you just say I had to take a COVID or we are in a pandemic. Everybody knows that we're in a
right.
pandemic. Just say like you don't have to say production made me. Just say like I needed to take a COVID test before I came, so that's why I was in glam. That's the doctor that I went to make sure I didn't have COVID. That's why I couldn't come. So just like clear that air. And if she still wants to be mad about it and still say I think you're faking, or I still think you were fake sick, or you didn't actually take a COVID test, like that's fine. But
Mhm.
it just feels like they're really leaning on like not breaking the fourth wall here, and that's why it's bothering me.
Yeah, and I think part of it is like Bravo wants to make it seem like all these events and shit that they're doing are not problems in terms of like how you should
Right.
behave during
Right.
even like what might be the tail end of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Um So that I think that's like part of it, where like Kenya's getting heat for kind of like following Bravo's instructions.
Right.
And given like even still now, if you aren't feeling well and you know you're going somewhere,
Yeah, you should be taking the
you take a
precaution to be
COVID
taking a
test.
test. Yes, everybody should be doing that, whether you have a production team telling you to or not.
Right. So Marlo's had some highs for me this season, but I just think what she's especially coming after Kenya for. I understand
Yeah.
her qualms about Kandi more, and I even understand Sheree's shit with Kandi more than I do
Me
with
too.
Marlo. But I really think all of this is stemming from, if you take the last couple minutes of this episode where we see her trying to FaceTime her sister, begging her to go to inpatient therapy so
This
that,
was so sad to me.
and this is like
my heart broke for her.
it sucks because Marlo goes with her nephews alone. Like, bring one of the women down with you so they can see it too. And it doesn't take until this airs, however many months later. Even they just sit there. But that's the thing. Like, I think for Marlo, she has felt like she's done this already, where she has reached out to different women, being like, "Help me be a mom and not just an aunt or whatever." Like and so I get that component of it, but it's just like, I don't know. It's so hard. We see her at the beginning of the episode doing, I can't remember how you call it, the Jamaican dance, and I don't want to disrespect it.
Yeah.
Like the dirty wine or something like that, whatever it's called, right? You see her like dropping her ass, having a great time, and then the end of the episode, we have her like begging a prison guard to try and get her sister on the phone so that her sister's sons can be like, "Please, mom, get this help so we can see you." Like, I know we've kind of just like gone all over this episode.
No, that's
but
okay. Yeah.
I think it's like an overall conversation that's worth happening. That I don't. It's just like, I think that's why I'm appreciating this season in terms of we're getting a lot, especially from Marlo more than anyone. But it's also she ebbs and flows so much with me because I wasn't big on Marlo getting a peach. And then I'm like, okay, I get it. And then she's like coming at the favorites somewhat unnecessarily. You see what she's dealing with, and it's just, I don't know. It's like not a lot happens, but a lot is happening at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Like, it's just some of these situations feel like really intricate, like, and just complicated. So even though it just doesn't feel like things are moving along in the season, like there's still a lot happening. Um, I know you're probably not gonna love me saying this, but like I'm on Marlo and Sheree's side with Kandi. I'm not really 100% there, obviously, with the Kenya stuff. I think with Kenya, it's more lashing out. I think with Kandi, I do think that she's just not being a good friend or just is really disinterested. But to me, Marlo and Sheree are carrying the season because they're actually being really vulnerable and telling us these things that are going on in their lives that are like real, where no one else is really, aside from maybe like Drew and Ralph, but like I don't care. I do not care. I don't ever care.
Ralph in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I'm more high on Drew these last two, because we haven't seen Ralph. But I just like, and there's been drama with Drew like outside of the Ralph stuff. But I feel like they're the only two that are giving us like true substance. And Kenya a little bit with like the Mark stuff and Brooklyn, but even that, it's like, okay, I just enjoy watching Kenya. So she always gives us stuff. But it just feels like these two are carrying the season.
For the record, I'm on Sheree's side with the Kandi stuff. I am not on Marlo's side yet with the Kandi stuff, because I don't think Marlo and Kandi are as good of friends as like Kandi and Sheree.
Yeah.
And we've seen Kandi do this before. We saw Kandi have issues back in the day with what's her fucking face? Not Portia. Phaedra, different P. Where like Phaedra felt like she wasn't being a good friend because Kandi was caught up in her shit. And Candy's kind of at that same place in her life right now where she's like very caught up in her shit. And so this is kind of like a repeating pattern of when she is like balls deep in her work. Like she's even having
Yeah.
these same issues with her husband. And
Right.
so to me it's like not surprising, but I think Sheree has a point. I don't know, like I don't know how like open Marlo has been with Candy with like the nephew stuff. Like yeah, she called her and was like, "Hey, like let's do stuff together or whatever." Um but we do see Candy like reaching out to her and trying to support her with the like the charity and everything with the
Yeah.
clothes donation, and it just felt like I don't know, it felt like Marlo was taking cheap shots at Candy with like calling her a hoe and saying like
Yeah. Yeah,
all
that
this
I don't
stuff,
agree with.
and that like it feels like Marlo's mad because Sheree has a reason to be mad and is like she's kind of working with
Mhm.
Sheree on this. Marlo
Yeah.
kind of is like notoriously done that though. She's
Yeah.
always like picked a person and rides hard for that person and like
Yeah.
does not care what she says or does to anybody else as long as it's not them. We've seen her do it with Kenya, we've seen her do it
Mhm.
with Nene, like
Yep.
we've seen her act like this before. So I can still defend Candy when it comes to Marlo, but I think Sheree is right in that like you need to be a better friend to me than you have been.
Yeah, and I also think Kenya's right with Candy and the vibrating underwear.
Yeah.
And I think Mama Joyce needs to shut the fuck up.
Uh I definitely wrote that somewhere in my notes. I
Yeah.
hated that she was talking. But
Yeah.
we know that I'm not a Mama Joyce fan.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote
Understandable.
Mama
Understandable.
Joyce is just chiming in and I need her to stop.
Yeah. It's just like Kenya has every right to say this is a creepy thing that you're doing and you
Mhm.
didn't tell everybody that other people would have control over like vibrating underwear. And she goes, "Oh, the woman that was in Twa, I can't say it, Twa, and like played the lead in Twa, like
Yeah.
pointing out that Kenya was in it. Well, I don't know what is it, softcore porn. I have no idea what that movie is, but it's like that's something totally different. She signed on to a role, she consented to be part of this, and it's acting where you just said, "Here, put this on," and then like didn't give anyone the opportunity to consent to it. And
Yeah.
that like weirds me out with Candy, especially because it's like you already got into a scenario where you were accused of potentially putting someone in a non-consensual situation. So
Yeah.
why are you I don't know. You would think that she should be a little bit more careful here. And like be respectful if someone is saying I'm not comfortable with this. Hear what they're saying. Don't just get defensive about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Um
It seems like that's going to come to a head next episode.
yeah, it does. I I guess it's just like unnecessary overall that
Yeah.
that was like something you chose to do with everyone. Like I can understand giving it as a gift to everybody and be like use this as you want, but
Right.
to encourage it all on a bus on camera, I don't
With
know.
other
And
people's husbands.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it did like it was the newer people kind of playing along where
Mhm.
like there's more of an obligation because
Yeah, where Sheree and Kenya were like, "Nope."
yeah, absolutely
Marlo
not.
also said no, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've like covered different parts of this, so let's like quickly scan through these notes
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see what we got. So it started at Sonya's dinner party. We haven't really talked much about Sonya. I know you said you're out on
Ugh,
Sonya at this
I'm
point.
out.
We really haven't talked about like Sonya and Drew much in general, in what we were just talking about. But Drew shows up at the dinner party and is already being like passive aggressive in the shade she's
Mhm.
throwing and shit. And Sonya said that she's like happy Drew is here. Um, so that she can actually have this conversation with her. And something that just really struck me with this is like, does Sonya even know what she wants to have a conversation with Drew about? Because I do feel
No,
that every time the conversation starts, it does like go off the rails very quickly.
immediately.
And it's partially because it's in a group setting, partially because like Drew does kind of like go to 100 real quick with it. And
Mhm.
but like besides not understanding Drew's business, dropping it with Drew or whatever it's called, do you really need to understand Drew's business?
I don't know why this is bothering her so much because, like, literally, who cares? Who cares? And I agree with Drew when she says it feels like that Sonya's cloud chasing with the two most popular housewives, and it feels like
Mm-hmm.
she's like And even Marlo was like, you felt closest with Candy? Like, I've known Candy for a decade and I don't even feel close with Candy. Like, how did you connect
Yeah.
with Candy so fast? Candy notoriously doesn't really connect with new people. And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, you just wanted her followers. That's what you wanted. It's very obvious. And it feels like even like this baby storyline is manufactured a little bit with her husband. And I'm just like kind of not. At the beginning, I was like, oh, I kind of like her. I feel like she's fitting in. Now I just feel like she's taking shots at Drew because Drew, as Crystal feels about herself, is the easy target. And
Mhm.
she doesn't have like big fans that are going to come for Sonia on the internet. Whereas, like,
Mhm.
she's obviously not going to go for Marlo. She's obviously not going to go for Candy or Kenya. I don't think she would ever go for Sheree as like a returnee and with everything that's like, Sheree is an icon. So who's left to make drama with to get a second season? Drew. So she's just
Yeah.
going for it. But she doesn't really have a leg to stand on because why do you care about her business?
I know that Sonya, when she was like accused of clout chasing, when she was like, clout chasing, like, I'm a 4-time Olympic medalist. I don't need anybody for clout.
Yeah.
And then Drew's confessional kind of made me laugh, where she was like, Candy didn't bring her Grammys. Like, Kenya
Yeah,
didn't bring her
exactly.
crown. Like, what
Right.
are you doing? She brought out like her gold medal and shit. And
She's like, "Oh, the prize for winning the contest is you get to wear
yeah,
my medal for 5 minutes and then give it back to me."
yeah,
Like, that's not a fucking prize. That's just to show off
yeah,
that you have a medal. Like, who cares?
yeah. It definitely seemed. I hate the term pick me in terms of like pick me girl and all
Yeah.
this shit. Like, I think it's like a very immature way to describe people who just like
Mhm.
maybe try to flaunt their securities more than like
Yeah.
because they're insecure. I don't know if it's necessarily anyway. I just have I could do a whole goddamn podcast about words I have
Mhm.
issues with that people regularly use, especially when people in communities that like the word didn't originate use these
Yeah.
words, and it's like that's not your fucking word to use, so
Yeah.
stop saying it. Anyway, despite all that, I agree with Drew in that Sonya's acting like one of these.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Sonya has good commentary, but right now
Yeah.
the way that she is trying to keep herself involved and engaged, it doesn't seem genuine. That's the
Right.
issue. And something you've brought up a ton of times is like these women are actually friends. And so it's very obvious to me someone like Sonya who is trying to like impose their
Mhm.
presence on a group of friends, and like given like even in real life that's fucking hard. Like I understand it.
Yeah.
It's just to me like amplified right now because
Yeah.
she's on a TV show.
Yeah, and I think she doesn't need to do all of this. It feels like it's too early, first of all, and then it also feels like she actually really was making some genuine connections, like when she was walking through New York with Kenya. Like, just let it play out and let us just get to know you a little bit before you start getting in the mix of all this drama because it just feels really inauthentic to me at this point. And it just really feels like she's just doing a lot just for the sake of doing a lot so she can
Mm-hmm.
get a second season. And it does feel like she's picking on Drew because Drew is there. She's the easiest one. There's not going to be consequences if you go after Drew. She doesn't have a super close friend in the group that's going to defend her. She's not popular as a housewife. It's only her second season. Like she's the easiest one to go for.
Yeah.
Also, like, never bring your mom into a situation and have your mom fucking yell at me as an adult grown ass woman. Cause I would be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, ma'am, you're not my fucking mother. So don't
Yeah.
fucking yell at me. Cause I don't give a shit about disrespecting someone's mother.
Same.
Like,
Like,
you don't know me. Don't fucking talk to me that way.
yeah,
You're not my mom.
absolutely. This whole argument to me was just like unnecessary because again, nothing is going to get resolved if they don't talk about it one on one. And Sonya like purposefully continuing to try to do it in front of the group.
Yeah. It's also like hypocrite. She keeps saying like, "Oh, I didn't want to have the conversation with the group. I wanted to have it alone." And then we get into the thing about the makeup artist,
Yeah.
and Drew says, "Oh, you got your makeup done for free." And she's like, "No, I paid $25, 25." And she's like, "Did you pay it though?" And I'm like, "We're really getting petty about 25 fucking dollars."
I mean, Drew's the same one who last week was like, "You're ordering the shrimp and calamari, Kenya." So
That's true. That's true.
Drew may actually be caring about
Mhm.
$25.
Mhm.
Katie, if we ever get dinner, you can get the shrimp and calamari. I won't care.
Oh my god. Okay. Thank you. You can get anything you want. I'll
Perfect.
never judge.
I would probably get shrimp and calamari. Those are two of my favorite things.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Love me some seafood. After the argument that doesn't get settled, there's still just like anger, I guess. Drew then turns and is like, okay, well, while we're like being assholes, hey, Kenya, did you ever tell Candy why you were upset with the sex toys?
Yeah.
And Kenya even says, like, okay, since Drew dragged me into this, like, I wasn't happy about it. And like you said, Candy was trying to do the whole false equivalence thing. Like,
Yes.
you tell us about these stories, like you having sex in a cave or whatever this is, and
Yeah.
you're not okay with it, but like those are all things she consented to. And
Exactly. That's what Candy is really missing here in this bigger picture. And again, as someone who's been accused of potentially bringing someone into a non-consensual situation very publicly, who was very upset about it, maybe you should take consent into a little bit more consideration. Like, I feel like in order to be as sex positive as Candy portrays herself to be, like, consent should be at the forefront of what, you know, she's kind of like preaching. And this is weird to me because Kenya is very literally being like, I didn't consent to this. I mean, I don't think she says that specifically, but like, so if that's a very valid criticism. So why then are you saying, well, like you were in this sex tape or like this whatever movie? That is completely different situation.
Yeah, Candy's trying to equate the like, oh, you're trying to be prim and proper about all of this, but like we know you've done all of these other things. So like, why is this what you care about? But I mean, rightfully so. She's allowed to care about whatever she wants to.
Absolutely.
And I mean, Kenya obviously like said no and didn't participate.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's Candy. I think that's a place where Candy just has to be like, you're right, my bad.
It's
Sorry.
bothering me about Candy that she's not hearing what Kenya is saying and that she's just getting defensive about this because it's like, no, you really need to hear what she's saying. Like what she's saying is totally valid. She was uncomfortable and you made other people as well feel uncomfortable, not only Kenya, she's just the one that's speaking up about it. Like you should be hearing her and taking a beat and being like, "Oh, yeah, I guess maybe that was fucked up."
Yeah, and again, this is a conversation that I think most of the conversations that we see on the show are when they're in the group setting. I'm sure that if it's a one-on-one conversation, there's probably a different reaction, but you're like immediately put on the defensive when it's like Drew introducing it like the next guest speaker at your fucking like college communications class. Like, oh, next up is Kenya to talk about her displeasure with the vibrating underwear.
Exactly.
So,
and then we get Mama Joyce being like, nobody controls my vagina. And everyone's like, okay.
Yeah, I just ignored everything the mom said in this, to be honest.
Yeah. It just irritates me. Like, we don't need the moms getting in the mix here. We just do not need it.
Yeah. Next, we get Marlo speaking at her conference about her nonprofit, Glam It Up, and works with girls in foster care and how she's like motivated to help girls who like had similar experiences to her, and she just wants to like provide them with as much as they can or she can, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, especially like, I don't know. I actually just talked to my partner about this, I think this morning. I was like, I've always wanted to be a foster care parent. Like I always have wanted to do this. And so like it's kind of cool seeing it kind of like in the mix of a TV show that I'm watching. Just like, thanks, Marlo. Thanks.
Yeah.
So after we get Drew calling Marlo, Drew asks like what I missed before showing up, and Marlo says she called out Kenya for not showing up to the charade party, and that Sonya's defending Kenya, which she like doesn't see why, and Drew is now second guessing her friendship with Sonya. It took till this point, I guess, for her to second guess it. I don't know.
Okay, Drew.
And Marlo said, like, by the way, though, like, you were making faces that were really disrespectful.
Yeah.
Which I do appreciate that, like, Marlo will be truthful about even negative things with her friends. And that was a lot of commentary, like, in confessionals during that that argument was like, Drew, you need to shut up. Like, Sheree said it too. And Marlo said that she thinks Candy is full of shit and needs to be a better friend to Drew.
Yeah.
I don't know what's Marlo's basis for it. Like if Sheree said that,
I don't
I would
know.
get,
Yeah.
you know, that's the
Yeah.
one question I have where like
Right.
you can say that on behalf of Sheree, but it doesn't give you the right to be like angry with Candy, I guess. Like, does it
Yeah.
affect your relationship with Candy? I don't think so, but
Yeah. Unless it really is just a case of seeing feeling like you're seeing Candy's true colors and you're just kind of like, I'm
yeah.
not liking what I'm seeing, which, it could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And um we've seen it with Candy, like I said before. When she is like fully involved in her work, she is not a good friend.
Hmm. No,
She's not a good wife. Like
no.
so Marlo, I just don't think you're at like the top of her priority list right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Exactly.
pal.
No, her EGOT is.
Uh Sonya's like sitting with her mom. I'm just skipping that part. I don't really care.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care at all.
Cool. Then we get Sheree meeting with her life coach. So we haven't had like too much Sheree talk yet this
Yeah.
episode. And she tells him about what happened with Tyrone. So I kind of like miss what was said here. I don't know if you caught it, but basically how I understood it was the life coach said like, okay, so now that Tyrone is like out of jail, where when he was in jail, like you were his main focus, like he didn't have other distractions or whatever. Now that he's
Hmm.
out of jail, like he has other options, and like you need to realize that. Is that basically what he said?
Yeah, that's basically what he said. I was kind of like touch and go on this conversation too, just at the Tyrone part. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the gist of what he was saying. And he was kind of just encouraging her to focus more on her business and putting herself first over this guy, who obviously is a douche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was saying she felt stupid and naive, and the life coach asked, like, so you're done with him, right? And she basically like Justin Bieber'd it and was like, never say never. Um,
I know. And, when Kenya was on Watch What Happens Live after the episode, someone called in and asked a question and was like, do you agree with Candy that Sheree wasted her time and that there was another woman there or whatever? And she was like, well, whatever Sheree decides to do is what Sheree decides to do. It's up to her to say if it was a waste of time or not. If she wants to be with him,
mhm.
fine. If she doesn't, fine. So that makes me feel like maybe she's not done with Tyrone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think Kenya would have been a little harder on Tyrone if she wasn't still talking to him.
Yeah, that makes
She very
perfect
much was
sense.
like, it's not for me to say.
Yeah, that makes sense. Life coach told her like no more jail boyfriends.
Yes.
But let's focus on something you genuinely enjoy that's not for anybody else except for you. And this is where She by Sheree is trying to get its like 7th revival.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got to get it together. And it feels like she knows that she's got to get it together. And she's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I know. It's been like a mess since the get-go. And she basically says like she wants a woman at the helm.
Mhm.
And she talks to Kenya a little bit later about why that is.
Yeah, she doesn't have a business manager. And it's honestly like to me, She by Sheree is just the running joke at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a joke. Like,
Yeah.
how are you going to have a fashion show with no fashions? That was what, like
Mhm.
season 1? So, like, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it started off as a joke and it's unfortunately continued on that way.
Oh, shit, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, was it like an episode or 2 ago when it's like when they were like clowning on Drew for her website not working and Sheree's like, "Well, when She by Sheree is up." And it's like,
Yeah,
"Shut
it's
up,
like,
Sheree."
Sheree, just get it up or just stop talking about it.
It's
One
like
out of the two. One out of the two.
14 years in the making. Like,
Right.
shit.
Right.
So, we cut over to Candy and she's cleaning up and she's going through her clothes to donate. She calls Marlo because Marlo has her nonprofit and was like, "Hey, I have a bunch of clothes that I would like to donate to your organization for the girls in foster care. What do you want me to do with them?" And Marlo was like, we don't accept hand-me-downs. Like these need to be new
Hmm.
clothes." And Candy was like, "I probably have worn most of these clothes once and like not worn them again."
Yeah.
But okay. So Marlo thinks that Candy should already know that Marlo only accepts new clothes for her nonprofit and not the hand-me-downs. What do you think of this little interaction?
Okay, so I'm kind of split. I'm a little bit on Marlo's side and I'm a little bit on Candy's side. The clothes Candy was giving were not giving. I mean, even Todd was taking them out and was like, what is this? What is this? What, like, they looked like shit. They were put in a suitcase somewhere else in like a musty ass room somewhere in a garbage bag. And that's exactly what Marlo was like. I got picked on for wearing clothes like that. I want my girls to have better than what I had as a foster child. Like, this isn't what I want for them. I want them to have something new. Candy can afford to buy new clothes and donate. Like, it almost feels like she didn't know what to do with the clothes. So she's like, oh, I could just give them to Marlo and she'll take them for the girl. Like, it almost felt like a passive gesture of like, oh, I may as well just give these away. So that kind of like, I agree with Marlo on that. Where I would agree with Candy is if she was like, listen, this is Gucci, this is Versace. I wore this once on a red carpet and I want to give them like designer pieces so they can have something high end to wear. Then I think Marlo would have been like, oh, okay, like you're actually good. But she probably knew she was going to take some nasty ass sweatshirts.
Her own fucking clothes out.
Right.
As a business.
They're like, yeah, but they're like designer.
High-end.
So
well, that's the point I'm making is like, like and aligned with yours of like, if it's you fucking profit off of people wearing your hand-me-downs for a night or two. Like,
right.
Okay.
I know. And that's why I'm kind of like, okay, maybe you've worn them one or two times, but like you literally pulled out some ugly ass hoodie with like glitter sparkles on it. And we're like, oh, I used to love this sweatshirt. It's like, no. We don't, no one wants this.
I think the compromise could have been like, go to a place, what's it called? Something closet. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're like, basically like,
at the consignment store?
Yeah, that you can like sell your clothes to for however much. Like, go to a place like that, sell these clothes, and then give Marlo the money then.
Yeah, totally. Or like, say, I'm going to put these up for auction online or something. Because she could put them on eBay and people will bid on her clothes, you know? Like, and then just say it's for, like, do a charity auction and say, like, the charity that you're giving these clothes to or the money from these clothes is going to go to Marlo. This just feels like you wanted Marlo to take your trash.
Yeah, I see that perspective. As someone who just finds it so annoying to bring my trash bag of clothes out to my car to eventually find a place.
It's very annoying. No, it's very annoying. And like so many places, they just like don't take them anymore. Like they're just like, oh, we're not accepting donations. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
So there's places around, like there's these, like the bins around Chicago, and I didn't even realize this till I saw a TikTok about it.
They're like scams.
Yeah, that they take those clothes and then sell them.
Yes, they're scams. Yeah.
It's like, oh shit. Anyway. So yeah, I think there's like multiple sides to this because I don't know. I guess like Marlo could have said like, okay, at least let me see them. And then she could have like sorted through and been like, this could be good for whatever. And this could like.
Yeah. But I also feel like if Candy really wanted to help, she could have called Marlo and been like, hey, how can I help? Like, I have clothes. Are you accepting donations for clothes? Would you prefer money? Would you prefer, like I said, like an auction or a charity or whatever? Like, how can I get involved? Rather than being like, going through clothes and do you want to pick them up or you want me to drop them off? Like, and she's like, I'm not taking that shit.
Yeah.
It was like a little presumptuous on Candy. I think she meant mostly well, but I also think she was just like, oh, this is just an easy way for me to get rid of this shit that I don't want.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good summary of it. After we have Sheree meeting up with Kenya, and we get Kenya first talking about how she's like struggling a bit within her own business. She's missing like her biggest deadline, and it's just her, and she needs a team. She feels like she can potentially lose her business if she doesn't get it together. So then this next part when Sheree's like, same, I need to find like a woman CEO, and Kenya's like, we can help you with that. Like, Kenya, find one for you first. Like,
yeah,
this is
maybe like partner together and figure out how you guys can find like women business managers that will help you get your shit together. I was surprised to hear that. And I also was like, when Kenya was saying like my business, what is it? Kenya Moore Hair Care, or is it something else?
I think it's Kenya Moore Hair Care.
It's weird that she didn't say like Kenya Moore Hair Care is at Walmart. Like she was just saying my business. And I'm like, what is the business?
It's probably because it's flailing at the moment, and it's not the time to bring a drum line in to
right.
to tell everyone about it.
Exactly.
When Andy introduced her on Watch What Happens Live, and he's like, Kenya Moore Hair Care. I'm like,
I get Kenya Moore Hair Care is like it's like a earworm, and like it's just hearing that from like the marching
Yeah.
band gets stuck in my head.
Let's see. Then
Do
we
you want to
get
try a womlet?
I'll try anything once. Food-wise.
It feels like what's the difference between a regular omelet and an omelet that's cooked in a waffle iron?
The imprints, my guess, of like
Yeah, like I don't know, why is this a thing? I'll have to look it
probably to
up.
save money. Like, oh, we don't have to buy this. We can just make everything in a
Right.
waffle
Right.
iron.
Right.
Just buy 5 waffle irons.
Yeah. I'm looking it
Yeah,
up.
I'll eat it. Definitely eat it. Next we have them talking about Marlo, and Kenya feels like Marlo's being a bit of a double agent and is really coming at Kenya for being sick. And Shrey said, like, well, Drew came over with stuff and like did things for me and you didn't, and that seemed like a little weird
Yeah.
or whatever. And Drew or Kenya's like, I bought all that and I told Drew to come over and get it
Yeah.
and bring it over. And Marlo didn't present it that way to Sheree. She
Yeah.
presented it a little bit differently. And Kenya says, like, listen, I'm a loyal friend. Like, I definitely would have been there if I wasn't sick. Sheree believes her. And Kenya believes that Marlo's working overtime to get people to think that she's a liar. And she's confused about this because, like, their relationship is kind of, like, on probation as it is. Like, they just started being friends again.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And Kenya calls it this toxic cycle. Now, I think we've talked about this a lot already in terms of, like, why it could potentially be happening.
Yep. I'm just glad that Sheree and Kenya could kind of, like, work it out between the two of them.
Yeah, because there's definitely some years ago when it would have been something entirely different, but
yeah,
it's not now, and I like that they get along.
Yeah.
The next part of the show, they're at dinner, except everybody ends up being there except for Candy, because Candy's out in LA filming her TV show where she has to have sex with a woman, and she
really thinks she's gonna get an Emmy for this. I mean, we watched part of it and I was like, this is what you think she's getting an Emmy for?
She said the boobs will help get her an Emmy, but
I don't think it's how it works.
Of course, Drew is there first and Sonya's there second. And we went from, and by we, I mean me, because I don't know what order you watch this in. I went from seeing Sutton and Crystal at a meal first, and it was like perfectly fine, to this being some of the most awkward shit I'd seen in a while with Drew and Sonya being there together.
Yeah.
It was
like, I watched it. Yeah, it was like, it was strange. These two, I don't know.
It felt like exes seeing each other for the first time since they had broken up, to be honest, where it's like, we hug hello because we like used to have sex with each other and now we don't. So
that's really funny. Yeah.
Marlo shows up next and she explains what's going on with her sister. And so we've kind of already talked about it, but if we didn't do the greatest job, because I feel like we were kind of in like a natural flowing conversation about the show and a less like detail oriented phase of this, I got you. So we find out that her sister is in jail for a minor traffic violation, but the judge notices mental health issues, and the judge is denying her sister's, I don't know, like freedom, maybe? Is that the best way of putting it?
I guess she's trying to get outpatient therapy or outpatient care, but the judge is like, no, I'm not approving this. Like, you need inpatient recovery.
And if her sister goes to inpatient, then like no jail time, no trial, no anything, like just do this and you're good. But her sister is refusing it.
Yeah.
And if she continues to refuse it, she's going to be taken to trial and she's going to go to jail for at least a year.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's her sister's choice to go to trial. Like, that's what she's trying to do, rather than, and I don't know how long this inpatient care is. I know some care facilities like this have like 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, whatever. But like, Marlo's making the point, like, the boys will be able to come and see you. We'll be able to come see you for Christmas. Like, you'll have more, it's not jail. You're not in jail.
Yeah.
You're at I guess it's a rehab facility. I don't know. But this is really sad to me because I just feel for Marlo. She's got a lot on her shoulders.
Yeah, and so she gives some info to both Sonia and Drew about that. We get Kenya there after, and Marlo's like, do you feel better? And Kenya's like, no. To which my question is like, why do we still have to have Kenya showing up to shit sick during a pandemic?
I guess she's like consistently getting tested and doesn't have COVID, so she's just showing up because she has to show up to these cast events. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, it feels like we're pretending hard that COVID isn't a thing during this. Like, I don't know if it's to make
Yes.
it so that it has like
Like
timelessness to
rewatchability or
it.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Where, I don't know, I think of like people make a big deal about the one of Taylor Swift's albums where it has like no references to anything in like the current time, so you can listen to it and it, like always be relevant. And it's like, is this what Real Housewives of Atlanta is going after? Like COVID isn't a thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not a Swiftie, so I'm unfamiliar.
I'm wearing my Taylor's version sweatshirt right
Oh,
now. Um,
this is where we disagree on something.
It's okay. And not everyone has to love her. I don't force I just get defensive. That's all. Like if
Okay.
someone's like, she's blah, 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 I have evidence on evidence to be like, you're
Oh,
incredibly
okay.
wrong.
Okay, good to know.
But I'm like huge Taylor Swift fan. Like I get a Google alert about Taylor Swift every day. So
Oh my God, I didn't know this about you.
I set it up like literally the reason I have Twitter is because of Taylor Swift. Like
I did
that
not know this about you.
And I got an iPhone so I could get Instagram, because do you remember when Instagram was only an iPhone app?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
like same reason, because of Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're dedicated.
I'm like I'm not the level of Taylor Swift fan that has like an alt account and posts all this Taylor Swift shit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm never gonna be invited to one of her like release like, secret sessions, because I'm not like vocally out there
Right.
professing my love to her.
Right.
But if you like, to anybody who knows me, if you say Taylor Swift, like name the first person you think of, it's probably me.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay, well,
yeah.
now you will be the
Yes.
first person I think of.
Yeah, I try to keep it under control, but you know,
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm an adult. I have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things that like, it was one of my favorite things about teaching. And when like Taylor Swift would do something one day and I'd have like all my little Swifties running up to me and being like, did you see Taylor did blah, blah, blah. Like I gave my email to my students before I left. And so like there was a day where something happened. I think she released merch from like 2 different albums at the same time. And like my like top 5 emails in my personal email are all just like
God.
subject Taylor Swift. Like,
Oh my God.
it's
That's
emailing me.
really funny. That's really funny.
So yeah, I'm the resident Swiftie. And whether that is a flaw or a positive, like, is to be determined by whoever wants to interpret it. But anyway, yeah, that's that about me. So we get Shrey there last. Sonia or Tyrone comes up a little bit. Sonia's like, you're too good for Tyrone, which is like the nicest and most worthwhile thing Sonia said all episode, in my opinion.
Yep. Agreed.
They talk about how Candy's out in LA. And then we get Marlo bringing up Candy offering the hand-me-down clothes. And this is where Kenya stands up. I don't think that Kenya is standing up for Candy as much as she is the concept. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, no, I get the same, because she was like, I was, I grew up on hand-me-downs. Like, I got made fun. Everybody gets made fun of for wearing, everybody gets made fun of for everything. Like, you can't, Candy was trying to do a nice thing, whatever. I get where she's coming from.
Yeah, and I could see like why that would be offensive to someone who like wore hand-me-downs. Like so for me, like I didn't have hand-me-downs. I'm the only girl in my whole family. You know what I mean? But like, there's 4 boys in my family between my 2 brothers and my 2 male cousins that like that happened all the time.
Yeah, totally.
So I can understand with Marlo being like, I don't take this old shit. And people who were like, I grew up not in foster care and wearing hand-me-downs. Like, why is this not okay for someone who isn't? Like, why are you drawing this line in the sand? So yeah, to me, it felt like Kenya was defending the concept more. And she said, like, you don't have to vilify someone for not giving enough, like, to your level that you need, which
I agree with her there.
yeah, I think that, like, she did a really good job, like, generalizing
Yeah.
kind of like things she's noticing with Marlo, because she said, like, you did the same thing with me being sick. Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't able to show up, and now I'm somehow this bad guy when, like, I helped planned it. I still had all the things that I was supposed to bring brought over by Drew. Like, I did my best that I could in the moment, but it wasn't enough for you. And
I
then
feel like so
Marlo,
much of this is tied to Marlo's like issues with her mom and childhood and probably having been let down a lot in the
yeah,
past by women specifically. I feel like that's kind of like, and not to like diagnose anything, obviously, but it just feels like that's what we're kind of like seeing manifesting from some of these different things here with Marlo. So that's kind of why I tend to give her a little bit more. And I hate making excuses for people. I really do. But I can understand more around like why maybe she gets this way. Not to say that I'm like, it's fine that she's like this because she had a rough childhood, but like I could see the threads getting pulled through, you know?
yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Marlo said to her, like, sometimes you just need to show up and show out. And Kenya says, like, just don't tell me if you want to be my friend, but then talk shit about me behind my back. And Marlo's like, I'm saying it to your face, just like I'm saying something about your wig. And then this is where we get like old
Yeah.
Marlo going after
Mhm.
the, like, the low hanging fruit, if you will.
Yeah.
Let me see. So then I have Marlo wants Candy to be better with her action. And Sheree then says, like, I don't think Candy's been a good friend to me lately. She could have reached out to me about Tyrone. And
Mhm.
we talked about this last week. And Sonia chimes in here and is like, I didn't know if I should reach out when Kenya told me. I do
Yeah,
think
but
it's
you
a
don't
weird,
know her. You just met
yeah,
her.
you
She's
don't know
known
her the
Candy
way.
since season 2 of the show.
Right. Um, yeah, I just think it's like a hard place to be in. I get it. Like,
Yeah.
you call and say something, do not call and wait. And I don't know. We talked all about it last week. If you want to hear our
Yeah.
opinions, you
I
can
think
hear
you
it there.
call. I don't know. I think you call.
I just hate calling people in general. But
Or send a text or something,
yeah. No,
anything. Just
I
reach
get
out
it.
however.
Yeah, you can easily say, like, you can leave the ball in their court. And I think
Right.
that's what Candy should have done, of like, hey,
Yeah.
I heard this. If you want to talk, let me know. And then
Yeah.
that's easy
Yeah.
enough.
Exactly.
But like I said, I think Sheree has a point that Candy can be a better friend to her. Um, and hopefully Sheree has this conversation with her sometime soon, because
Hmm.
um, I don't want to see Sheree and Candy on opposite sides. Just,
Yeah.
I don't know how that would even look. I don't think they've really ever been on opposite sides.
No, I don't think they have. Talls
So,
versus smalls.
yeah, guess that'd be it. Then we get Sonia saying that she wants to make it up to everybody except Drew for not inviting them to the Nation
Yeah.
photo shoot,
Yeah.
and invites them to a different one in Portland. And Drew was like, "Oh, you invited me to that one, and now I'm uninvited to that too." And Sonia says, "Drew, you're driving me crazy by constantly talking over me." And they just start shouting at each other. I really wasn't even paying attention to what they were yelling at
Yeah.
each other. I like just
Nonsense.
didn't care at this point. But this is where we get what DM Rocks was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Kenya comes over and pulls the chair away. Sheree
Yeah.
got up
Sheree
and,
gets
like,
in between
physically, like,
them.
puts herself between them. And Drew ends up just walking out and leaving. Sonia says she doesn't want to get to a better place with Drew at this point. And Kenya follows Drew out. And Kenya's
Hmm.
like, you wouldn't even let her speak. And Drew was like, I thought I was listening well.
Yeah.
Kenya was like, no, you weren't. Which, like, that to me kind of sums up Drew, because
Yeah.
Drew thinks she's something she's not.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm sure that part of it has to come from the fact of, like, you're in a marriage where nothing you said is, or say, is, like, listened to or respected. So
Right.
it translates over into other facets of your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But for her to be like, I thought I was listening, like, bro, a deaf person would have been listening better than you were in this instant. Like,
Yeah, this was
absolutely were
yeah.
not.
She wasn't.
But they're clearly on opposite sides of this.
Yeah.
I think Drew has a little bit of a leg up because Kenya is taking a liking to her, so is Marlo.
Yeah.
Where, like, in a more natural way than what Sonya's got with Kenya and Candy, I guess.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I kind of agree with Drew, is that it just feels like they are, or that Sonya is trying to cozy up to the two most popular housewives that are on the show. Like she's doing what Sutton accused Crystal of doing.
Mm-hmm. I'm just over it in the way that, like, it feels like Drew is reacting. Drew doesn't react well to Sonya.
Yes. Yeah.
Drew doesn't really react well to anybody, but we've gotten instances of Drew where she's interacting with the other housewives in, like, interesting ways, where like her and Kenya together, her and Marlo together.
Yeah.
And especially with, like, we're not getting Ralph in the picture. Drew's stock to me is going up a little bit, where Sonya, it's like every single time she was on our screen for the last, like, 2 episodes, it's because she's talking shit about Drew, and for something that, like, really doesn't make
literally
much
pointless.
sense.
Yeah, pointless. She's making something out of nothing. Like, why are you so obsessed with Drop It with Drew?
Right.
Why are you so obsessed? That's the whole thing that this is about, that you don't believe what she's saying about Drop It with Drew. And I guess she was, like, trying to make something out of this, like, assistant thing and how she treated Sheree, but, like, she dropped that part and now she's just making it Drop It with Drew.
Yeah. I don't know. It's all, we could just drop it. We don't even need to drop it with Drew. We could just drop it. That'll be fine.
Well, I think next week we're going to be dropping it with Drew. And it seems like it's going to be a whole ass mess.
Yes.
Which I'm excited to see.
Yes. And the episode ends with the phone call that we had talked about earlier. So, okay, the one part that seemed a little weird to me was, like, it seemed like someone dropped the nephews off at wherever they were, like, having dinner, and to have this phone call with Marlo. So, like, here, my guess is that
it's probably a production thing. Like, they already had the cameras and everything set up, and Marlo was already there.
I think it's more of a, like, jail thing, where it's like, this phone call will be happening at this time. I'm sure that this dinner, the reservation, the production was already set.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then, so, like, okay, let's bring the boys there and let's do this here. So,
yeah, that's
like,
kind of what I mean. Like, I feel like they couldn't have, with, like, the production of it all, gotten Marlo home in time and gotten everything set up at her house with the boys there in time because of, like, the set time for the phone call.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it was something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. And like we said earlier, again, I can't remember, like, what exact details we gave, because we were having, like, just kind of a back and forth conversation about it, is that her sister won't take the call. It seemed like her sister, like, walked out of the room. Like, did she throw a chair or something, did they say?
Yeah, she said she threw a chair. It seems like Marlo said, you know, as soon as she got on the phone, she could tell that something was not right and that her sister was not in her right frame of mind, and she started cursing at Marlo, saying, "You're the reason why I'm here." Because you could even see, like, she picked up and Marlo was, like, waving at her and was saying hi, but she, I guess, got upset and threw a chair at the guard and left the room. The guard was trying to get her back on the call, but it seemed like that didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's where we leave it.
Yeah, I feel bad. You know, we saw Marlo getting emotional. We saw the boys getting emotional. I think Marlo was like, "We'll cry for 5 minutes and then we'll just, like, get it together and keep moving forward." And I just feel bad. I feel bad for all of them. You know, she even says, like, you know, "I feel good about their futures because I'm going to do everything I can, like, as a mom for them." But this is just a very section. And with so many, but, you know, I feel like it's so loaded for Marlo too because of what she went through with her mom, and now her nephews are going through it with their mom. It's just very sad.
Yeah,
I feel like that adds extra weight to it for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like there's more people involved now than just herself. And
she's, like, just seeing this repeating pattern.
Oh yeah, because I mean that's her sister, so I'm assuming her sister also went through foster care.
I assume,
and, like, okay, I just had that connect for me. Yeah, that sucks. Where, like, Marlo was able to take the cards that were dealt and make what is hopefully the best of a situation where like her sister isn't able to or wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
But that is the end of the episode. We mentioned that next week in the preview we get it looks like they go to a Drop It with Drew class, and Sonia, the professional athlete, does not seem impressed with what's happening there. There was something else in the preview that
I think Kenya and Candy going, or Marlo and Candy going at it.
Yeah.
And maybe Kenya and Candy too. I just think it's funny that Sonia has like you are literally an Olympic athlete. People are not going to be able to get up to your standards for a weight loss program. Like, let's chill here for a second.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, and we get her like crying to her husband about like not wanting to have another kid, which I'm so not interested. Like, I don't care. This is like people who come on the show and then are like, "Oh, I'm having issues with my relationship. I'm going to get divorced." And I'm like, "But I don't care because I don't know you, so I really don't care. Like, sorry for you, but I don't actually care."
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like the people who come on the show to have a divorce, and it's like,
right.
Yeah, this isn't gonna. If it draws viewers to you as fans, like it's not the population it's not as many as you think it is.
No.
Outside of that stuff on the internet that's happened, I have a Miami thing. I don't know if you saw this, that one of the Miami housewives is getting divorced, Lisa, from her husband, Lenny. They've been together, I think, like 14 to 15 years. And
he's like very publicly cheating on her, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems like, where he just like doesn't give a fuck either.
I saw him leaving very rude comments to people.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you've mistaken me for someone who gives a shit." And what sucks is like in season 4, they're out at dinner and Lisa, his wife, is like, "Isn't it great that we still have a spark?" And he was like, "Yeah." Like clearly no spark.
That's sad.
Yeah, and she had said in season 4, like, so between season 3 and season 4 happening, which I don't know how many years it was, but whatever, it's maybe like 8, I'm not sure. He had like an emotional affair on her at one point because their big thing was she had at least 3 miscarriages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like basically he is the plastic surgeon of Miami. Very rich. He works 12-ish hours a day. His job or her job was to get pregnant and provide him a family, and couldn't do that. And so then there was like issues early on with like finding a surrogate. Do they have a surrogate? Do they not? And then in between like season 3 and season 4, they had a couple kids, and so like she's now like he's gotten everything he wants, and now like eating on her or whatever. So they're filming right now, which means we'll probably see some of this in 5.
Seems like that'll definitely play out on the show.
Definitely interesting in terms of I like Lisa. I don't know what you've heard about her. I'm not sure.
I don't know anything about her other than everything that's going on with this. I've really like somehow not gotten involved in like Well,
because like you're usually good for me in terms of like you'll probably like her, you might not like her, this and that. And so it's like I haven't done like a Reddit dive on what people think of her. I've only done it on one of the other ones today. That's annoying the fuck out of me this season. So
oh, okay.
Marisol. But yeah, so that's big on the internet right now. I don't know if there's anything else. Is there anything else that you've seen that we need to talk about?
Just Lisa Rinna being, I mean, we talked about the Diana stuff and the Black content creator, which I don't know how that netted out, but I know she posted an apology. I don't know if there was anything since then, but just Lisa Rinna again being Lisa Rinna and basically internet stalking Kathy Hilton. Crystal posted a picture of her new puppy, which is so cute. And Kathy Hilton wrote, "So sweet," with a heart. And Lisa Rinna out of nowhere just responds to Kathy and says, "I remember when you first got on the show, you called me and said what Kim said about Harry, she made it all up. You know that, right?" And I said, "I know she did, Kathy. I just flashed on that today for some reason." I don't, this is like a crazy, get out of Crystal's comments, leave Kathy alone. I don't even know what happened here with Kathy. I will find out as it plays out on the season, but I'm already tired of it just because Rinna is like a dog with a bone. Like,
Yeah.
let the mouse go, as Sutton said. Like, just leave it alone. Let us
Yeah.
at least see it first before all of this craziness. It's wild. Just wild.
Yeah, I did see that. And I just like there was too many proper nouns in the sentence for me to care to try and like
I
remember
know. I even reading
who
it now,
was
I'm like, what are
who.
you saying? I don't even like understand what you're trying to say here. It's just so weird. And
Yeah, I
Kathy's
just
just like ignoring her, and Lisa just
yeah.
will not let it go. Um, I also saw Kathy said that Kim was potentially asked to come back on Beverly Hills, which like, please give me Kim. Please give me Kim. We need Kim. We need an injection of Kim into the season.
See,
The only formidable opponent of Kyle's is Kim Richards.
I don't know if I
And
want that.
LVP, but we'll never see her again.
If she is like I say this in the least judgmental way possible. If she is like mentally okay to be on the show, because
Yeah.
to me it felt like Bravo was exploiting the shit out of someone who is
Yes,
not
I agree.
in a mentally stable enough place to have their shit blasted across the country, and especially because like it's not just like her personal life, but it's her family life as well with
Yeah.
having Kyle on the show that like it just felt deeper. And I don't know. I struggled with watching her because it just felt like I was using your current mental state for their gain, and I felt I was just so if she is
Yeah.
in a place where like it doesn't feel like she's being exploited,
Mhm.
sure, bring her back on. I don't care. But if we're getting still like she's here to be the butt of the joke and the just like look how crazy she is in comparison
Yeah.
to her like very um like set in life sister who constantly makes it seem like she's the bad guy, like Kyle's always the black sheep, whatever. Like I don't need to like revisit that, I guess. But
I
if
don't need to revisit that either. And to me, I know you said it felt like Bravo was exploiting, and I agree. But to me, more than anyone, it felt like Kyle was exploiting because
oh
Kyle was the one truly not giving a shit, throwing her sister's business out. I mean, she's the reason that it came out that Kim's an alcoholic. She
mhm.
screamed it in the limo. And I just, that is number one reason why I do not like Kyle. I think that she treated Kim so horribly. And really probably contributed to a lot of what was going on at that time because she put everything out so publicly when that show was huge. That was like the most
Yeah.
popular Housewives at the time. Um, but I love Kim and I would love to see her. I like it because I feel like I like her because I feel like she doesn't like play by Kyle's rules where everybody
Yeah.
else is playing by Kyle's rules. And if
Yeah.
she's on with Kathy, who I feel like will look out for her, then like give her to me. I want
Yeah.
it. Plus, like she'll make Rinna shake in her boots.
Yeah. Yeah, when I say Bravo exploiter, I just consider Kyle part of Bravo because she
Yeah,
is
she
a
basically
producer.
is a producer.
So
Yeah. Rinna too, saying she's close to death. See, this is why I'm not here for Kyle. And I'm going off on a tangent here, but like you take your friend's side over your sister's like every chance that you possibly get. She never defended Kim ever, and all
mhm.
she did was like treat Kim terribly. And she kind of did the same to LVP too in a lot of ways when LVP never really did the same to her. And I feel like LVP
Mhm.
was always very respectful of the situation going on with Kim where Kyle was like very much not.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I just so it was just it's incredibly uncomfortable
It is
that
uncomfortable.
like
That season where they went to Hawaii and
people are
she like
making
missed the
money.
flight. Yeah, it was rough. It was
Mhm.
rough.
Yeah. It's like people are making money off of this woman's uh just like I don't want to say misfortune, but just like miss everything at the moment,
Mhm.
and it did not feel okay to be watching. So
Agreed.
if we're getting a healthier Kim who is in a place where like we're good to be on TV, great.
Mhm.
I support it.
Yeah, and if we want to talk about like dark on Beverly Hills, let's talk about season like 1, 2, and 3 of Beverly Hills with
Mhm.
Russell and Taylor. Yeah, it was those seasons were not easy to watch, that's for sure.
Yep. Um okay. Cause I mean all the fucking blondes from however long ago, uh it's hard to remember who's who. Is Taylor the one with the cat meme?
Yes, yes. She will
Dude.
be on Rugged.
Okay, so that was actually the point I was gonna make.
Mhm.
Like, my fear with Ultimate Girls Trip is that the peak of the show is going to be Brandy saying I couldn't take her seriously because all I could think of was her yelling at me, and like while she was yelling at me was the cat meme. Like
I think that happens in the first episode. So if that's the peak, I'm upset.
Right. So that's my like biggest concern is that like we're getting the best thing from because when I first saw that, dude, I was cracking up hysterically because it was like the exact same hand motions and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
That's my biggest fear. Obviously, we will see come Thursday because it comes out June 23rd that it could be different. Hopefully it's not the peak. And
Yeah.
we liked Real House or we not Real Housewives, the Ultimate Girls Trip season 1.
Mhm.
So fingers crossed for a solid season 2.
I have high hopes for this. I think Dorinda and I mean the way that Dorinda and Vicky are going at each other. I
Yeah.
mean that's the other thing. Vicky, I guess, called Dorinda's house old and something else, and Dorinda's been going off on Vicky on social media and saying like she has like 19 missed voicemails from Vicky. It's like they're still feuding on the internet. It's like
Yeah.
wild back and forth. Obviously, I'm on Team Dorinda here. I'm excited to see it play out on the show because those two are gonna butt heads. We know it.
Yeah, the other thing I'm not excited for with it is Phaedra because
Me too.
I know that before I knew anything about Phaedra's everything,
Mhm.
because it was like, oh yeah, I like Phaedra, she's witty or whatever, and you were like,
Yeah.
just wait. And then seeing that like she's having the opportunity to come back and
She's also on Dubai this season. She makes an
oh
appearance.
yeah, she makes an
Mhm.
appearance there. We still speaking of Phaedra, we haven't gotten our Apollo appearance yet in
I
Atlanta,
know we
so
haven't. I'm
there's
looking forward
things
to that.
coming.
Yeah,
There's things
definitely.
coming.
Definitely.
All right. We, I think, have summarized what is going on in this universe this
Yeah,
week
there's
quite
some like
well.
OC stuff, but I don't care that much about it enough to talk about.
Name
With the
names.
producer. Tamara and Kelly were on oh my god, what is his name? Jeff something. Jeff, what is his name? Whatever. The guy from Flipping Out.
Hmm.
I don't remember his last name. It was not coming to me. On his Sirius XM radio show, and were saying that the producer who Heather allegedly pushed called Kelly and Shannon and Tamara and said she pushed me. Then
Oh,
he also got fired, and they were blaming
yeah.
Heather for ousting. Yeah, getting him fired. So they basically were like, yeah, he called us and told us that she pushed him, and that Terry pushed him, and then he got fired. So, whatever. It is what it is. It's bothering me that I can't remember. Jeff, what is his last name? What is his last name?
I don't know. What is his last name?
Jeff Lewis. Oh God. Okay, Jeff Lewis. Sorry, so sorry. Bad encyclopedia. But on to other things. You can throw me a follow if you are so inclined at Real Slim Katie on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow me on Twitch at oh my god, twitch.tv/Real Slim Katie with an underscore. I'm out of it right now. My room is very hot that I'm sitting in, and I think it's just burning me out. Twitch.tv/Real Slim Katie with an underscore. You can also listen to me on Silent Podcasts on Wednesday. We will be, or Thursday. We haven't really decided on the day yet. We'll be covering the final episode of this the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi. Short season, only 6 episodes.
I was gonna say, shit, it's already the end. Wow.
Yeah, really short season. This week is the finale. You can also listen to Carrie and I's coverage of the Real World Homecoming. It's good on a binge. If you're binging the show, definitely check it out. It's called Stop Being Polite here on Silent Podcasts. And then you can find me every week with Carrie. We're also planning on some Big Brother coverage coming soon. That season is coming faster than we can even think about. So we'll be covering that here on Silent Podcast, thinking about a lot of fun stuff that we want to do, and maybe some challenge coverage coming up soon as well.
Mm-hmm. You can follow me on all of the platforms, KGD26. If you aren't following me on Instagram, you missed my dog being what was told to me as the life of the party at the pool party at daycare on Friday. So you missed out on that. And if you missed out on that, I had literally 4 different people with no relation to each other message me and either say, my depression has been cured, or
Oh
this
my
was
God.
the serotonin boost that I needed.
Aw.
Nitro was like royalty there. It was actually really funny. I had my boyfriend pick him up, and he like had me on the phone because I can't remember if I have him as like someone who is allowed to pick him up from daycare.
Mhm.
And like I heard them say, or he's like, I'm here for Nitro. And Megan, who's like the owner, she was like, he just came in from the pool party. He is soaked. Like, is that okay? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And so she was like, he loved it. He absolutely
Aw.
loved it. And like he got home, it was just like covered. And then they like posted videos
Aw.
and stuff. It was great. So anyway, if you're not following me, you're missing out on solid Nitro coverage, which is probably the best coverage that I do. But if you're looking for other coverage like TV shows and shit, I got you, fam. Like Katie said, listen to Stop Being Polite if you haven't watched Real World Homecoming yet. It's getting like award nominations and stuff. And
Yes.
our best friend Melissa Beck did an interview with us. So that's worth listening to just as a reality TV fan in general. She's so funny. Then let's see. We do this every week, like we mentioned, Cool Water Show, Real Housewives, your content there. And I'm like in the thick of it of challenge coverage right now. So on TJ Hates Quitters, I am not only bringing on a couple guests each week to cover All Stars, which is wrapping up soon. It's probably be done in like 2 to 3 weeks at most. But we're also doing some pre-season coverage right now of the Challenge USA, which is bringing in reality TV stars from different CBS shows. And tonight, I will be doing coverage about the Big Brother contestants that will be on this season with Isaiah and Julia. So that'll be out tonight/tomorrow. We already did Survivor coverage with Josh and Gia. That was great. I know a little bit about Survivor. I watch it. I'm what they call a casual because I believe in having surface level interactions with TV shows. But I know jack shit about Big Brother except what I see on Twitter, and I try to mute it. Last season was the only season I didn't mute. We'll have Amazing Race and Love Island coverage coming up soon. So definitely check that out. And then last but not least, my super secret project is going to be coming out. I was supposed to record the first episode this weekend, but shit got busy. So that's going to start next weekend. You should start hearing that in like a week or two. I'm very excited to talk about it once I get a few episodes. I have a better stuff like actually doing because I'm kind of just like with it right now. So I do have a name for it. I'll tell you after.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I'm somewhat proud of the name. But that's it. But you know where you can listen to all this shit? On the internet and on your phone and on wherever else you get podcasts. I don't know where else do we get podcasts, like maybe an iPad, a computer, but those will require internet. But either way, if you like the YouTube version, a lot of our things are on YouTube, some aren't. Or the Twitch version, I guess. Search us, follow us, subscribe, whatever it is, the terminology, I don't know. Silent Podcasts on both of those. We're also on Twitter, silent_podcasts. And then we are where you listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify, a few other ones, but search us, rate us 5 stars. If it's not a 5-star episode because of my Wi-Fi, listen to another episode when my Wi-Fi does work and give us 5 stars then. That's our only 4 stars. Like, everything's great, but that girl's sucks. And I'm like, listen, I try my best, man.
Yeah, your Wi-Fi's kind of sucking right now, if I'm being honest, but it's okay. We're getting through it.
I'm gonna have to restart my computer, see I don't know what's going on. Like, look, the router is literally right here. Like, I'm next to it.
Yeah. Oh my god, I think
anyway.
we just killed it. Oh wait. I thought we lost you there as you're holding the router up.
Yeah. I'm here. Just a shitty Wi-Fi and all. But anyway, just listen and say nice things. Thanks in advance. So until next week, where we're likely to have 2 episodes for you. One with
I think
Atlanta.
It'll be this week.
That's what I meant. Like, in the next
Later
7 days.
Yeah.
In the next 7 days, we will have our typical Atlanta and Beverly Hills episode. And then we're going to have one that is covering all 3 episodes of Ultimate Girls Trip. So you'll get double the coverage this week. How lucky are you? But until then, enjoy whatever you're doing. Have a nice day, night, evening. We will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.